As they prepared for sleep in the inn at Bree, darkness lay on Buckland. A mist strayed in the dells and along the riverbank. The house at Crick Hollow stood silent. Fatty Bulger opened the door cautiously and peered out. A feeling of fear had been growing on him all day, and he was unable to rest or go to bed. There was a brooding threat in the breathless night air. As he stared out into the gloom, a black shadow moved under the trees. The gate seemed to open of its own accord and close again without a sound. Terror seized him. He shrank back, and for a moment he stood trembling in the hall. Then he shut and locked the door. The night deepened. 3 black figures entered the gate, like shades of night creeping across the ground. One went to the door, one to the corner of the house on the other side, and there they stood, as still as the shadow of stones, while night went slowly on. The house and the quiet trees seemed to be waiting breathlessly. There was a faint stir in the leaves, and a cock crowed far away. The cold hour before dawn was passing. The figure by the door moved. In the dark without moon or stars, a drawn blade gleamed as if a chill light had been unsheathed. There was a blow, soft but heavy, and the door shuddered.
Ooh, hey there, gang. I'm Danny J.
And I'm Joel N.
I'm Trevor D.
I'm Joe Vasky.
And together, we
are
Keep on Tolkien.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right.
know it.
And you might have guessed with the opening excerpt, we're talking spooky stuff today.
Spooky stuff today, which is why Joseph is on, because he's a spooky person expert. And we're going to talk all things spooky. You love Halloween so much, don't you?
Yeah, it feels a little strange that I'm here, though, and we're not really talking about movie stuff.
Yeah. But you know what? Fuck it. Why not? Joe's a good friend. He knows about spooky shit. We're going to get into it.
I do love Halloween.
Yes. And we have a fun bit planned at the end that he's going to be a part of, too. So
We think you'll all enjoy.
we think you'll all enjoy. But yeah, we're here. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween.
Happy
Yes,
Halloween.
yes,
Halloween.
Spooky.
We are here deep into our Halloween celebration.
Balls deep.
Balls deep. It's definitely not the beginning of August.
It's definitely not 2 months before Halloween. I hope nothing major happens.
On an unrelated note, sorry if we don't mention any crazy tragedies or things that that happen in the amount of time.
If we mysteriously are not talking about some major event, that would be why.
You guessed it. This is movie magic. This is August.
Well, today, to go along with our Halloween spooky-ookiness, we're going to be talking about some scary creatures in Tolkien.
Yeah, and we're doing a clickbait list, right?
Yeah. Top 10 scariest creatures.
Top 10 scariest creatures.
But we're not ranking them how you'd think.
No.
Ooh.
Yeah,
And you'll
yeah.
find out what that is later.
You know, we'll talk about that in a second here. And then later on, we got this thing that we're calling ChatGPT Creepypasta Reacts. We'll get into that later, too. How about that? We'll just leave it at that. It's a fun bit that you guys will enjoy. But let's get into the scary list. How about that?
So
Scary list.
we came up with this list of 10 of the scariest creatures in Tolkien, but we decided we were going to rank them a little bit differently, not necessarily by how scary they are.
Than most would, yeah. We decided to rank them by, and this was also ultimately a Trev idea, which I thought was brilliant, to rank them by most evil deeds, or most awful shit that they've done, right?
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
not like they look spooky, but like evil shit they've actually done.
Because the most scary thing about all these fucking people on the list is that they're evil as shit. Like there's not a really a good aligned character on these lists here for the most part.
well, and some of them are just like the race of that creature as a whole.
It's
Like,
just straight up evil.
just
Yeah.
straight up evil.
And we think evil is scary, so we rank them by the most evil shit they've done.
Yeah. So we've got the 10 scariest types of creatures ranked by the most evil deeds that they have done throughout history. And we're going to start with the least evil and scary and work our way up. How's that sound?
Yes, the least of mine. This is let's get into it. Number 10.
Number 10, scary but not quite as scary as everything else we're going to talk about. The Horns.
That's right. Oh, boy. So let's get into some scary stuff that they're involved in, because they are involved in some spooky ooky stuff.
Well, to be fair, the Huarns aren't evil creatures per se.
These are spicy, creatures.
Right? If they're left alone, like unattended by the Ents, they could get pretty dangerous.
Sure, they're like toddlers that way.
Yeah, they can get described to be as black-hearted, which is pretty dark.
Right, like toddlers.
Borderline evil.
Yeah. Borderline evil, exactly.
Queer and wild, like
like
toddlers.
Yeah.
It's also speculated that Old Man Willow was potentially a Huorn, and he hated all things that walk,
Yeah, he definitely did, especially hobbits that
especially
come into
habits.
to his territory.
Yeah, they can even wrap themselves in shadow. When they're angry, they can move at great speed. They can even speak, which is kind of nuts.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Like, because they're kind of like somewhere in between a tree and an Ent.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
sort of like a transitionary period
And
in an Ent's life.
They're still communicating with the Ents in at least some fashion. We don't
Yeah.
know if it's through like traditional speech
Or like roots.
or whatevs,
It almost gives me, they have some ninja vibes.
I suppose, yeah.
Kind
They
of feels
totally
that
do.
way, yeah.
I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, they're
think
kinda-
tall, dark creatures that are more tree-looking, than your average Ent.
Or ninja.
Or ninja.
Well, we do have an excerpt, straight from the literature to go over some of this stuff too. Danny's going to read it. It's from The Two Towers, Book 3, Chapter 9, Flotsam and Jetsam.
We came down over the last ridge into Nan Kurunir after night had fallen, Mary continued. It was then that I had first had the feeling that the forest itself was moving behind us. I thought I was dreaming, but Pippin had noticed it too. We were both frightened. It was the Huorns, or so the Ents call them in short language. There is a great power in them, and they seem able to wrap themselves in shadow. It is difficult to see them moving, but they do. They can move very quickly if they are angry. You stand looking at the weather, maybe, or listening to the rustling of the wind, and then suddenly you find that you are in the middle of a wood with great groping trees all around you. They still have voices and can speak with the Ents, but they have become queer and wild, dangerous. I should be terrified of meeting them if there were no true Ents about to look after them.
Are the horns, are they justified in this because of like
Yes,
mankind decimating?
Wouldn't you say, in KOT's opinion, we are Huorn sympathizers? I am, at least. I'll come out and say it. I Huorn sympathize.
I think we're talking about the general, like,
At least in the Two Towers, I sympathize with those Huorns.
yeah. I think we're talking about Huorns and Ents, right? Just the general.
Right. The general
Message
tree movement.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
tree movement.
The tree movement.
and
yeah.
everything that they stand for and represent.
The arboreal movement. Yeah.
Yes.
So let's talk about some evil deeds that these Huorns get up to.
Yeah, because they're not the nicest folks. So they've done a few things. So specifically, we want to talk about Old Man Will. That's one of the few like specific Huorn evil deeds that we get outlined for us in the text.
Yeah, straight up nearly killing the Fellowship, almost murdering the story in the crib, really.
Yeah, well,
Before it
this
even
is pre-Fellowship. This is just
Yeah.
the hobbits.
Yeah, this is just the homies. This isn't even the full.
They haven't even
Fellowship.
fully left the Shire yet.
Yeah.
This is like one of their first real adventures through the Old Forest.
Yeah. And we got Trev here. He's going to read a excerpt from the Fellowship of the Ring, Book 1, Chapter 6, The Old Forest.
Sam rushed back to the bank. Frodo was in the water close to the edge, and a great tree root seemed to be over him and holding him down, but he was not struggling. Sam dragged him from under the root. Almost at once he woke, and coughed and spluttered. "Do you know, Sam," he said at length, "the beastly tree threw me in. I felt it. The big root just twisted round and tipped me in." They went round to the other side of the tree. Pippin had vanished. The crack by which he had laid himself had closed together, so that not a chink could be seen. Mary was trapped. Another crack had closed about his waist. His legs lay outside, but the rest of him was inside a dark opening, the edges of which gripped like a pair of pincers. Frodo and Sam beat first upon the tree trunk where Pippin had lain. Then they struggled frantically to pull open the jaws of the crack that held poor Mary. It was quite useless. Frodo kicked the tree with all his strength. A hardly perceptible shiver ran through the stem and up into the branches. The leaves rustled and whispered, but with a sound now of faint and far-off laughter.
Kind of spooky almost, like it's definitely ill-intended, Old Man Willow.
Yeah,
like with that creepy laughter at the end, like, ho, ho, ho.
Malevolent. You know?
There you go, malevolent.
Yeah, he's a malevolent creature.
Like, I remember reading this part of the story for the first time and just feel like so hopeless because all of a sudden, like, Mary's trapped, Pippin's trapped,
Yeah,
and
what
like
the fuck
anytime
are you-
they try to do, like, Sam had the bright idea to start a fire and
Or
then...
they start whacking it with the hatchet,
And then
too, don't
the
they?
trees started like crushing Mary in half, and then it's
Yeah.
like, what do you do? They were
What do you do?
literally helpless.
Well, they're hobbits, man. They're tiny.
They're tiny, yeah.
Yeah.
The trees are going to
Only
have their way
saved-
with them.
Only
Yeah,
saved
exactly.
by a good old T Bombadil.
Team Bombadil, that's where he comes in, you know? Eldest fatherless.
Bombadillo, doo-doo-doo-doo.
This is
Igor Wayne Ben Adar.
oldest and fatherless.
The old eldest and fatherless.
This kind of is like the biggest Huorn related evil deed, though.
It really is,
which
yeah.
is why they're number 10. You know, they're
Right.
Exactly, yeah.
they've also sided, you know, with Ents and for the side of good
They've
and everything.
helped.
So
They've helped.
they've kind of played both sides.
I'd say Huorns are almost a little more chaotic neutral.
But wouldn't you also agree that the Huorns are the war crimes division of the
Yes.
of the good guys? Because like what they do to the orcs is like on
It is
untold,
insane.
really,
It's wild.
Yeah,
no.
they
They
just, like-
just clear out
they just genocide
armies
the
of
fucking
orcs,
orcs, yeah.
and take their bodies and
And they take their corpses with them.
And
into
nobody knows.
God knows what.
who knows?
What a tree would do with an orc's corpse.
I mean, an orc's corpse.
Orc's corpse.
orc's corpse.
Maybe it's fertilizer.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
they bury it and then stand on top of it
Maybe
and just
you
like
could.
slowly eat it over
I don't
time.
know if I feel like that'd make some fucked up trees though, growing from
From
orc
orc
fertilizer.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe that's why we have Old Man Willow in the first place. Maybe he consumed a little too much evil.
Maybe there's a few orcs underneath those roots.
That also
There's
seems
some-
like a terrible way to go.
It seems
Oh, yeah.
awful. Yeah, honestly, dying by Huorn sounds like one of the most terrifying deaths.
Yeah, awful.
So Huorns, yeah, scary stuff. I am
Number 10.
genuine. Number 10. Huorn.
Number 10.
I am very scared of Huorns, if I'm being honest.
Smash that like button.
Next creature on the list.
Let's get right into number 9. Number 9. Fell beasts.
Dun dun.
Dun, dun.
So let's talk a little bit about the fell beasts first. So the fell beasts, they were those winged creatures with beaks and claws similar to birds, but much larger than any other flying beasts. They're featherless, and they had long necks, and they had a vast hide between its horned fingers, like a leathery hide.
Mm.
And to complement its terrifying visage, it even gave off a particularly stinky smell.
Yes.
It
is,
stank, as Tolkien puts it so
one of the
poetically.
few times Tolkien describes something as being foul odorously. There's a few other times that I remember. I think Glaurung is also mentioned to stink, isn't he? I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it's a lot of things he'll mention smell bad. And things that smell good too. Athelion is supposed to smell good, right?
I'm sure he mentions way more good things.
I'm
than,
sure.
than bad.
Yeah.
Well, as far as the origin of the fell beast, we don't know, but we assume that they were bred by Sauron from a creature of the Elder Days.
Yeah, we can
Something
only
ancient.
assume, right? Something ancient and gross.
So were they supposed to be like the inverse of an eagle? Just
I
like,
think so,
Just
like
like,
the
an ugly
anti-eagle?
evil, an ugly evil
Yeah.
version of an eagle.
Yeah. In a way, yeah. Yeah, I mean they're like a bird-like creature that's nasty and gross and serves Sauron. It is kind of like an anti-eagle, yeah, in a way.
I just think of like a long-necked naked bird with like bat wings.
I mean
Gross.
they can hold their own in a fight against the eagles.
Yeah,
in the
I imagine
sky.
like a big naked buzzard almost.
Yeah,
with
like
like
a
a long
buzzard,
yeah.
neck or
Yeah.
something.
a buzzard hawk.
Well, they are known as hellhawks.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
they are known as buzzard. Yeah,
or
buzzard hawk.
Nazgul birds.
Or
That was
Nazgul birds.
That's something
Or
that
Nazgul birds.
I don't remember that one. Nazgul birds.
That one's pretty right on point. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
Them Nazgul birds.
Nazgul, yeah.
that's what the redneck orcs say.
Yeah.
the
Them
Nazgul
Nazgul
Them
birds.
Nazgul birds.
Back in
I
the
seen them.
wars.
I seen them up in the sky. Them Nazgul birds.
So we've got a lovely description of these disgusting, foul hellhawks. It's through an excerpt here from The Return of the King, Book 5, Chapter 6, The Battle of Pelennor Fields, read by Mr. Jovasky himself.
The great shadow descended like a falling cloud, and behold, it was a winged creature, if bird, then greater than all other birds, and it was naked, and neither quill nor feather did it bear, and its vast pinions were as webs of hide between horned fingers, and it stank. a creature of an older world maybe it was, whose kind, lingering in forgotten mountains, cold beneath the moon, outstayed their day, and in hideous eerie bred this last untimely brood, apt to evil. And the Dark Lord took it, and nursed it with fell meats, until it grew beyond the measure of all other things that fly, and he gave it to his servant to be his steed. Down, down it came, and then folding its fingered webs, it gave a croaking cry, and settled upon the body of Snowmane, digging in its claws, stooping its long naked neck.
Ugh, they sound so gross.
What are fell meats?
I don't know. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't
That's a good
fucking
question.
know.
I would argue that a fell meat is the meat of a fell beast. And like, cause fell.
Oh, it's cannibalizing.
No. So, fell beasts are also referred to as like the creatures that came over with Morgoth. Like, like the wolves do. So, fell creatures, if you will.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I would assume that's
So
what
it's
it
the
is.
creature, the flesh of evil creatures.
The flesh of evil creatures.
Okay,
Yeah.
that
That
probably
makes
makes
sense.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So the general evil deeds for the fell beasts would be serving Sauron's and just making the Nazgul that much more deadly and just hard to avoid. I mean, they were already the greatest hunters ever,
Yeah, and then you could make them airborne.
and then you made them airborne.
Yeah. Not cool.
That just made them so much harder. Level up those Nazguls, not good. So that's really the main evil deed of the Nazguls, or of the fell beasts. We don't get anything real specific about them on their own.
They stink.
They stink.
Yeah, they stink.
Yeah, we know that.
Well, they don't do too much on their own. It's usually always as a Nazgul steed,
yeah.
which is a bad enough deed as it is.
Which is enough to get you on the list at number 9.
I mean, they're at least scary. That's for sure.
Did Sauron break out the Nazgul after the horses died because there's no more need to be subtle?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Because
that
he
was
was
openly at war at that point.
At that point, he's openly at war, and he's trying to play his strong cards.
Yeah.
He's not trying to be subtle anymore.
He doesn't
Well,
need them to be
and the
riders
ring
in
was
black.
found, right?
Yeah,
so
the
it's
ring was
like,
found,
It's like
so it's
time
like-
to get
Yeah,
busy.
it's like game time. Here we go.
I'm trying to think, does it ever specifically say, after the Fellowship of the Ring, when we meet the Nazgul again, does it ever specifically say they still wear their black robes?
I feel like it, but I don't know for sure.
I don't
I'd
know
have
for
to
sure.
look. I'd have to look.
That'd be
that
funny,
up.
because maybe they're armored up in a different get-up now.
Maybe
You
it
know?
could be.
You never know.
They got their ranger armor, and then they switched
Yeah.
to their warrior armor.
They got incognito armor, from Fellowship, and then they go into their more moderate, light armor for Two Towers or whatever.
I always envisioned they were just naked under the robes.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Just being comfortable.
Just being comfy,
All right, let's jump to our next creature on the list.
Yeah. A lot of people know this one as a nuisance throughout Middle Earth.
They're a classic.
They're a classic, yeah. It's trolls, right?
Trolls. We're talking about trolls, everybody.
Trolls.
Number 8.
Yeah, a great,
Number 8. Dun, dun. Troll.
great spooky creature. So trolls, they were taller and broader than men, with a height of about 12 feet or even more, and they had dark skin with greenish scales, large flat toeless feet, and knotted hands with claws. And their blood was black, and generally they were pretty dull and not very articulate creatures.
Not particularly bright.
I love
not
that they're.
the sharpest tool in the shed.
I never pictured them as toeless, and that just seems so strange to me
Toeless.
now.
It does seem strange. But when you find out that they're bred from Ents, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. My grandpa didn't have any toes. He lost them in an accident.
Shit, was your grandpa's
a troll?
A troll or an Ent?
I don't know, dude. I mean, he acted like it. He was an alcoholic, so, The trolls do drink beer. Probably about as much beer as my grandpa drank.
So trolls, regular trolls though, they turn to stone when exposed to sunlight. But the troll race known as the Ologhai that appeared at the end of the Third Age could actually tolerate sunlight as long as they were controlled by the will of Sauron. So that's a pretty big level up with trolls.
Okay. This makes sense. Because we had this conversation a while back, Joel, via Discord. The Tomb of Durin, right? We're meant to believe that beam of light is sunlight.
Oh yeah.
Like-
How could the troll not have turned to
Well,
stone?
couldn't they just kick that shit? Couldn't Aragorn just drop kick that fucker in the chest and just bully it back into the sunlight?
Or just take his sword and walk into the sunlight and
Yeah,
reflect it into the...
Little mirror
Shield or
action.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, Boromir with the shield just...
Well, kind of like in the Trolls movie where they do with the UV lights, they chase the trolls around with the UV lights to slow them down. And have you seen the Trolls horror movie?
The Trolls horror movie?
I mean, I don't know if not
The children's film?
No, not the children.
That's what I was like. The Justin Timberlake movie.
Yeah, the one with the Justin Timberlake.
No, I'm talking about the horror
too.
movie. I think it's Swedish. I can't remember.
You're talking about Troll Hunter?
Troll Hunter.
Troll Hunter rules. I love that movie.
Yes.
Everybody go out and watch Troll Hunter. That guy, what's his name? Andre Overdahl or whatever. I think the name is the director's name. He's great.
It is a Swedish movie. Am I right?
Yeah, I think he's from Sweden. Yeah.
Okay.
Sweden or Norway.
I'm gonna feel bad. It's Scandinavian. I'm gonna feel bad if I got that bad. It's Scandinavian.
Sorry.
I should just say it's a Scandinavian.
KOT knows that all Scandinavians are the same. All right. Okay. We actually do know that because we grew up in Minnesota, where there's definitely Norwegians, Swedes, and Finns all over the place.
Scandinavian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah, we know the difference.
So trolls.
The trolls.
Yeah, so trolls.
Yeah. Trolls. Do we know why trolls turn to stone when sunlight appears on them? I mean, right? They were originally made of stone.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
From Earth they shall return.
Friend to Earth they return.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's even suggested that there's two-headed trolls or multi-headed trolls.
Yeah.
In The Hobbit.
I had totally forgotten about this.
Mm-hmm. Are there multi-headed super mutants in Fallout?
I don't remember.
That'd be cool.
There's the Brahmin.
Oh, the multi-headed cows. Yeah.
But when I saw that you had put this in there, that blew me away because I totally forgot about that. In The Hobbit, it says, at one point the narrator says, quote, "Yes, I'm afraid trolls do behave like that, even those with only one head each." Very much implying that there are those with two.
We don't ever see one, do we?
No, I don't think so.
This is the only time that I could find it was ever referenced, even. So it could be just like, like fanciful storytelling, but also like that would be extra terrifying to see like a 2-3-headed troll.
It's just one of those cute little things that's in The Hobbit and nowhere else. You know what I mean?
A trollberus.
You know what?
Serbatroll.
I'm accessing some trauma-blocked memories right now, and I think that the Hobbit movies actually may have
had a double-headed troll. Wow, are there some Hobbit fans out there yelling at the podcast right now? How do they not know this? You know why? Because we blocked those memories out. Why? Because we have a lot of hours of therapy to get rid of those memories. You understand?
So let's talk about some of the evil things that trolls have done. Why are they on this list, and why are they ranked at number 8 above, Huorns and Fell Beasts? What have they done?
Why?
Well, first and foremost, they nearly killed the Fellowship in Moria. That they had to cave troll or cave trolls. That was a pretty big deal. If you had stopped that mission right then and there, that'd be a pretty big deal.
Yeah, in the book, Frodo makes it fuck off. In the movie, they have a whole showdown with the goddamn thing, right?
Mm-hmm. The Chamber of Mazabal,
which is I love that fight scene. It is
a great.
It's pretty fun.
It's one of the first all out fight scenes in the trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the score gives away and the fighting starts, and it's just like
love it.
Battle shock. It's really cool.
Trolls also nearly killed Thorin and company, intending to squash them into jelly, which is a good.
I love that
mental picture. To
I love
have.
that. Pretty scary, right? Getting squashed into jelly.
Consume their flesh.
Juicing some dwarves.
Yeah, we got a lovely excerpt here from The Hobbit, Chapter 2, Roast Mutton about this, read by Danny.
A nice pickle they were all in now, Thorin and company were, all neatly tied up in sacks, with 3 angry trolls sitting by them, arguing whether they should roast them slowly or mince them fine and boil them, or just sit on them one by one and squash them into jelly. And Bilbo was up in a bush, with his clothes and skin torn, not daring to move for fear that they should hear him. Yeah, terrible. They're literally talking about how they're going to cook and eat your friends.
Yeah, and you're literally hiding in a little bush trying to stay as quiet as you can, or else you're going to get smushed and eaten alive.
That's
pretty scary.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre shit.
That's pretty scary.
Trolls will pretty much eat anything.
This is a children's story.
Yeah.
Can you also, going back to the 2-headed troll, can you imagine how just awful their conversations would be with each other?
It would be so stupid. Oh my god!
Would they share one intellect? I mean, that's not.
It'd be like listening. It'd be like listening to 2 undecided voters talk to each other. Sorry.
It'll be a topical October election reference.
Yeah, when this hits the air.
Well, we also have other evil deeds such as serving Morgoth and Sauron, which a lot of creatures have done.
Yes, pretty evil stuff though. They served in some pretty major battles and did some evil things.
Yeah, they're kind of like they're not like the infantry, but they're
a bit bigger than they're like the artillery. I'd say.
Yeah, they're like an artillery piece.
And then, even without serving a Dark Lord on their own, they're just known for general murder and plundering across countrysides. And they even somehow plundered the famous some of the most famous swords out of Gondolin. I don't know how they did that.
Technically, that makes
I'd say that's pretty evil.
Technically, that makes them pretty, like, among the most, like, important minor characters in the history of Tolkien.
Well, specifically those three, what? Bert,
Tom, and
Tom, Dick, and Harry?
Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Oh, the other one has two names. It's the only trouble with the surname. I just can't remember it.
That's a surname? Yeah.
Tom, Bert, and William.
Tom, Bert, and William. William.
So trolls. They're pretty evil. They're pretty bad. Pretty scary. I'd be scared of trolls. Don't fuck with them. Bring your UV lights with you. We learned from Troll Hunter. Don't mess around.
Yeah, don't mess around.
Now let's jump to the next one on our list.
All right, it's time for number 7.
Number 7.
Number 7 is Watcher in the Water.
Dun, dun.
Which is, the Watcher in the Water has always creeped me out.
Some scary stuff. It's some mysterious stuff, too. You know what I would love to see? If I could, make any kind of, mashup of my favorite media, it would be River Monsters meets The Watcher in the Water. I would love to see extreme fisherman and angler Jeremy Wade go after...
I think you would die.
No, Jeremy Wade... Do you know, I read something I don't know if this is true or not. I read something on the internet. They stopped doing river monsters because he basically caught all the river monsters that were known.
He's got to start going for Loch Ness.
The mystical ones. Yeah. He's got to go for cryptids.
I hear there's a water Bigfoot somewhere.
Yeah. River monsters.
Well, the Watcher in the Water.
Yeah, the Watcher in the Water. Mysterious shit.
Yeah, the full shape of the creature, unknown. The visible parts that you do see are tentacles, which are long, sinuous, pale green, and luminous with the fingered end, which is kind of
creepy.
Kind of creepy.
I don't like that. I think of a little bat's claw.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I definitely just think of thumbs.
Oh, that's even weird. Oh, that's almost like body
on
horror.
the end of them, yeah.
It's almost Cronenberg-y.
Yeah, that is Cronenberg-y.
Yeah, think Eldritch tentacle horror, possibly completely made of tentacles. The Watcher of Water. We don't
even
actually
says
know.
They don't know if it was one or just all tentacles.
What is it?
Could be one creature or many, really, but it's probably just a giant evil cephalopod.
Yeah, and the mysteriousness of this one definitely kind of pads its numbers a little bit.
Yeah,
and the spookiness.
it makes it very creepy, and I don't know that anyone kills it at any point.
No, does it mention in the Fourth Age they came back and slew the fucking
I gotta look at it because I know that Gimli comes back and they start re-inhabiting
the Dimrill Dale or whatever, right?
Well, they start re-inhabiting Moria.
Yeah.
In the Fourth Age, so they must deal with it. You'd think at some point.
They get rid of it,
or maybe they just drain the water and it just
Do they do that in the video game, Trev? You fight it in the video game, right?
You fight and kill it in the video game.
Oh, really?
Oh, see,
cool.
There's your answer.
Yeah,
There
I mean,
you
if
that
Return to Moria is canon,
I think they threw a few of their own things in there, but a lot of
okay.
it is based. So we'll have to look into that. It very well may have gotten killed, so we'll have to look into that and get back to you.
It could have also just fucked off, for all we know.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think that this came up from when Gandalf is talking about the tunnels under Moria that he doesn't want to talk about?
I think somewhere in the text, I don't know if it's the narrator or Gandalf that says it, but they say they suspect it just crawled out somewhere from the depths.
Yeah. The deep places of the world.
I wonder if it can leave the water.
It must be able to a little bit.
Is it amphibious?
I'm just because if does it have to leave via water, or can it walk out? Because if it could just walk out of Moria, all right.
That'd be gross. You just saw it walking down the Great East Road.
Yeah, just a really gross squelching.
I like the picture that it just kind of rolls itself into a ball and
it just rolls around.
Just rolls all the way back to sea.
Well, let's talk about some of the things it's done.
Oh, yes. Well, it nearly kills Frodo and ends the whole quest of the One Ring.
Yeah, straight up, right there.
Once again, another one of the things that nearly ended the quest for the ring.
Yeah, could have just...
One of the many things that nearly just offed everything and ruined the world.
Directed by Peter Jackson.
Yeah, exactly, that's it.
Was there a reason why it went for Frodo first?
It's not really known, I don't think.
A lot of people say that,
but it's suspected because
it's suspected that people are drawn to the ring's power.
Yeah, it's suspected because it has something to do with him having the ring, but it's not very clear what.
It's not really, yeah.
So it maybe has some kind of intellect or
yeah.
I think
maybe,
evil is drawn to evil.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
or it could just be a wild beast drawn to a strong source of evil. Maybe who knows?
Yeah, I think that might be what it is too. Yeah, I don't know.
But also, one of the things it's done is it killed Owen, and it prevented Balin and company from leaving Moria when Balin had, taken some friends to try to retake it in the Third Age. And that ultimately led to all of their deaths. So that's also pretty fucking evil. It trapped them in there and they died.
Pretty awful thing. We're going to read a passage from the last page of the book of Mazarbel.
I love this shit.
Yeah, fantastic. Trev's going to read it.
This passage is pretty spooky on its own.
It's pretty spooky, yeah. Trev's going to give it his best spookiness. Spooky ookie.
We cannot get out. We cannot get out. They've taken the bridge in the second hall. Frar and Loney and Nolly fell there bravely while the rest retreated to Mazarbel. We still hold the passage, but hope is dying. Owen's party went 5 days ago, but today only 4 returned. The pool is up to the wall at Westgate. The Watcher in the water took Owen. We cannot get out. The end comes soon. We hear the drums. Drums in the deep. They are coming.
Do not come.
Do not come.
Do not come.
Do not come.
The dwarves have left if they wanted to, but they just did not want to face the Watcher, or were they they could not even get out if they wanted
they
to?
could if they wanted to get out, they would have
They
been
were
killed
cut off.
by
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the exit, I'm pretty sure, would have been over the bridge that they mentioned.
Yeah, they were trapped in there.
Yeah, they were and then even after the fellowship goes through, the Watcher actually rips up the Malorn trees and throws them across the outside of the gate and traps them inside.
Yeah.
It's very extra. Yeah, so the Watcher in the water, scary, mysterious, and pretty clearly evil.
For all we know, undying even.
Yeah. Number 7, Watcher in the water.
Dun, dun.
It's probably kind of lonely, though.
It
Yeah,
probably. Maybe
probably
he just
is a
wanted
lonely
friends.
guy.
Maybe that's why I
Maybe
grabbed
just wanted
Frodo. Was like,
friends.
oh,
It was
you
just
need
trying to
a
hug all the
hug.
homies at the same time.
I can tell you're carrying a heavy weight.
Yeah.
They do call it the Watcher. It's probably
Yeah.
just into voyeurism.
Yeah. I like to watch. Yeah. Yeah.
Creepy squids out there again,
yeah,
up at
this-
the window.
We're just watching. Don't mind me. I like to watch.
Well, let's jump to the next creepy thing on our list. Number 6, vampires.
Vampires. We actually call these we call them Halloween type creatures sometimes.
Yeah.
Actually.
There's a couple things on this list that come from the Halloween type creatures that originate from the First Age stuff with Sauron on the Island of Werewolves and his spooky ooky
Some
stuff he
spooky
does
ooky
there.
stuff going on there. So what's some scary, some spooky ooky things that vampires get up to?
Well, in the 1989 Middle-earth role-playing game, vampires are described as, quote, former Maiar patrons of normal bats, but corrupted by Morgoth and transformed into demons appearing as man-sized bats with the faces of hideous men or women, and having the ability to change shape.
That's pretty cool. I don't know how canonical that is, but it's pretty sick.
Right, it's probably the most detail we get about vampires.
Yeah.
Do you get Elden Ring vibes, Trevor?
From this, I mean, there's basically a creature exactly described that this describes in Elden Ring. Except it sings.
Yeah.
It sings a
that's
very
creepy.
sorrowful, sad song in another language until you come up to it, and then it fucks your day up.
Nice. I love that shit. I love watching you play Elden Ring. It's so because I know my stepson Timmy asked me the other day. He was like, "Do you?" We were talking about the Soulsborne series, and I was like, it's notoriously a difficult series, right? It's known for a lot of expert gamers really like it. And he's like, "Have you ever played it?" And I literally laughed in his face. I was like, "Oh, fuck no!" I'm like, "No, I'd never play that." Timmy, are you kidding me? I'm a casual ass gamer. I'm never gonna play Soulsborne series. Are you shitting me? No, that's a Trevor thing.
It's a
And,
real game
Joe
thing.
plays it too. You do Soulsborne too, because that's why he asked you what your favorite. He asked Joe what his favorite game series was, and Joel said the Soulsborne series.
It's one of my favorites, too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so one of the reasons that we included that description from the 1989 Middle-earth role-playing game is because it is a pretty good description of what vampires are overall in Tolkien's Legendarium. They're basically
role, yeah,
they're giant bat-like vampire monsters. Giant humanoid bat things, and they do have an ability to shift shape, and they have fangs. But that's just kind of like the version that we see in Tolkien.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't picture the smooth skin, pale vampire.
The Twilight
vibe at
vampire?
all. Well, not even. No,
Do you
that's
think they sparkle.
Jesus.
The skin of a killer.
This is the skin of a killer, Bella.
I hate you guys.
I think you're the only one here in this room that's read the Twilight books. Put 'em
Looks
on
like it.
blast.
Looks like it, yeah.
Have you read it, Joel? Twilight?
No.
I was in high school. Okay,
He read
it was
it.
cool back then.
I just think it's funny because Trevor has infuriatingly read few books. It's funny. He's the smartest person I know that doesn't really read novels and stuff like that, which is like whatever. You can be in. There's different types of intelligence, right? But Trevor's a crazy smart person. Don't get me wrong.
Is that a subtle?
No, that's not a dig at all. That's not a dig at all.
Where's this going?
That's not a dig at all.
Okay. No, you came out on top of that. You came out on top of that.
So are you thinking of like the 30 Days of Night, like the bald, pale vampires? Like you don't think they look like that?
I'm not familiar with that particular vampire, but I picture
Josh Hartnett movie.
more of it. This is
You're talking
like
about like
this is
the
describing.
fair vampires, like the fair human vampires, like sexy and like. What are you talking about?
None of that. I'm trying to describe it here. You got to give me a second.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, we're just bombarding.
We're just
you with
putting
questions.
words in Trevor's mouth. Do you mean like this, right?
No, do you mean this?
You
Describe
definitely
this?
mean this, right, Trevor?
I'll just say that the description that it's giving is just it being more of a monstrous bat.
Yes.
Yes.
And that is
That is their version
always
of-
kind of what I pictured.
Humanoidish bat thing.
Was more of a creature than a human creature, because I feel like if it was more of a humanoid creature, you'd probably have seen more of them.
Probably.
It would have intermingled a little more.
Yeah, they integrate into society a little bit better, is what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, the
That
more
stands to
traditional
reason.
vampire, where they're basically like a human in day, and then they transform into just a regular sized bat and fly away sometimes, like that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Nah, no.
There's just no like honest vampires in cities that just like, work the night shift at the grocery store just to get by,
Right, just sucking the blood of all the meat.
Yeah, it's like they're exactly.
Let's talk about some of the evil deeds of vampires. And we want to start with, of course, Thuringwethel, because she's really the main vampire that we get in Tolkien's work. And her evil deeds really span just being Sauron's servant.
Yeah.
That's really her main. We don't get anything super specific that she does.
And it's specifically when he's leaving,
Other than being her messenger. Or his messenger.
It's also specifically when he's like posted up in the tower, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's like when we know most about her being active in Sauron's army.
What did her name mean again? Do you remember?
I bet I still have the tab up. I sure do. It means woman of secret shadow or she of hidden shadow.
Ooh.
That's from Thurin, secret, Sindarin, Gwath, shadow, Sindarin.
Hell yeah. Break that down for us. Good job.
Yes.
So Sauron also has other assumed vampire servants, but Thuringwethel's the only one that we get by name. And then we've also got that example of Sauron himself.
Of course.
Because we know at one point in the story, Sauron himself transforms into a vampire.
He does.
Right after his fight with Huon and Luthien.
Yeah, it's his licking his wounds form that he takes.
Well, we have an excerpt from the Silmarillion, chapter 19 of Beren and Luthien, and Joe is going to read it for us.
Then Sauron yielded himself, and Luthien took the mastery of the isle and all that was there, and Huon released him. And immediately he took the form of a vampire, great as a dark cloud across the moon, and he fled, dripping blood from his throat upon the trees, and came to Tar Nu Fuin, and dwelt there, filling it with horror.
Hell yeah, he did.
That's a
Metal.
great, I love the dripping blood upon the trees.
He just-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
gross.
it's pretty... Yeah, I love Silmarillion shit. It's super metal.
I don't ever feel bad or like Sauron's ever in like any kind of dire straits, though. I mean, like even if he had his throat slit and his physical form died there, like he would have been fine, right?
Yeah, his spirit would have gone, quaking back to Melkor or something like that?
he would have
And
been super diminished. No, it would not have been good for him to forsake his body there.
But he wouldn't have been dead, you're right. He would have
No.
done the Sauron thing where he regains his strength over time or
Yeah,
whatever.
that thing.
But
yeah, it would be
That
huge.
thing
it would
that
be
only
huge
Sauron
L.
seems to be able to do, that one thing.
Yeah, it would be a huge L for him to forsake his body there.
Could he just go get it later, like when they've abandoned it?
I imagine it would be to like destroy it.
Right, I think once they abandon it and it's dead, I think it's just kind of like, that's it. Like, I don't think you want to try to take back a dead body.
It's like in the 1998 Blade when he shoots vampires and they just turn into dust. Like that.
That's what you think happens
That's
to his
their body.
body.
I think his body incinerates
Yeah,
upon
like
leaving it.
CGI, early CGI dust. Yeah.
All right, well, that's what we've got for you for vampires. Relatively brief, but very evil. Definitively evil,
Oh, yeah.
very spooky.
Only served evil too, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Let's get into number 5. Wolves.
Dun, dun.
Dun, dun.
And this is sort of a category of creatures, because this
Right.
covers your standard wolves, your wargs, and your werewolves.
So I gotta say, like this first one, we got these like subcategories, right? The first one of which is standard wolves, right?
Right.
Which I have a huge problem with.
Okay.
Because I'm from Minnesota, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
we're big into the gray wolf here, right?
I see where you're going.
A lot of people may not know, but the resurgence of the gray wolf was spearheaded by folks from Minnesota, because the wolf always was doing cool here, even though when it was like extinct in Yellowstone and all that stuff. Anyway, we're very pro-wolf in Minnesota. We know this is a very Tolkien has a very English, like old English view of wolves. Like they'll eat our sheep and stuff.
There's too many of them,
Wolves
and they're
are
evil, and they're gonna.
Right, like it's like when you talk about shark movies, you want to be like, hey, most sharks aren't like this and are cool. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like Tolkien gives wolves a bad rap, I think, a little bit.
I guess when I say standard, I want to say standard-sized wolves. Maybe
Right.
is what I should have said.
Right, but even so, you know,
Okay.
Well, I mean,
okay.
wolves
Fair.
in general
Wolves-
in Tolkien aren't just evil creatures.
right? That's what I'm
So-
saying.
It's
So-
true.
in
They are
that-
portrayed poorly.
And that is what I'm saying is I take a little bit of umbrage with, as I have to say. Yeah.
Fair.
I'm pro wolf here.
So our fifth creature is the category of wolves, which covers your standard-sized wolves, your wargs, and your werewolves.
Right.
And to make it simple, we'll start off with your regular standard wolves here.
Yeah. What are some of the things that regular ass wolves get up to?
Well, just for like general stuff you should know, creatures in wolf shapes first came to Beleriand over mountain passes or through the dark forests alongside the other fell creatures during Melkor's Third Age of Captivity.
Yeah, so this is back during, was this the Age of the Lamps? Man, this was before the trees. This
Long
was
time
way,
ago.
way, way back in the early days.
Wolves are old.
The
I
wolves
guess.
are old and evil from the beginning, it sounds. The basic wolf would be exactly what you expect. A four-legged, fur-covered canine like a creature often used to pursue or track foes.
We've had. I have a question for you guys. We've had the K9 for a while, right?
Mhm.
When does the K10 come out?
When's the next gen?
Yeah.
Cut that joke.
Oh, God damn it.
So the wolves get up to evil stuff, being evil creatures.
Yes.
They've served every Dark Lord and Saruman, even. There was a particular white wolf that attacked the Shire during the fell winter of the Third Age.
Yeah, they invaded the Shire along with some orcs, I think. Or some goblins.
Yeah, and that was the last time that they had like sounded the horn of Buckland, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. This is
When the
before
White
War of the
Wolves
Ring.
came in the fell winter. Yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah.
the Brandywine froze.
That's right.
during the fell winter.
That's
Yep.
exactly. Yeah, we're
Yep.
piecing it together.
We've done episodes about all this. We done what's the episode? You did that awesome episode, Fell Winters.
Yeah, the Fell Winters episode,
Yeah.
because there were a few.
Yeah, that was a great episode. I didn't know a lot of those things. Learned a lot.
And then we also know the classic story of the wolves that trap Thorin and company after they exit Goblin Town.
Yeah,
when they come out on the east side of the Misty Mountains and they get like trapped in the trees.
They
And
nearly
there's
burn
those-
them alive.
Yeah, and there's that pack of wolves that come for a meeting and they're like, oh, look at these dwarves. And yeah, they try to burn them alive. Yeah, evil wolves.
Yeah, but that is not how wolves are in real life, guys. Wolves are beneficial to the ecosystem, and they
I mean,
Pro-wolf.
our pro basketball team is the Timberwolves.
yeah. Let's go Wolves, right? We made it to we were super stoked. The Wolves made it to the
Western Conference
Western
Finals.
Conference Finals last year. Yeah, we were super stoked on that.
Do you think that the Dark Lords had like a dog-human type relationship with some of the wolves, or do you think they were all just very business-like?
There is one example in which they do, and we're going to talk
Oh,
about
really?
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
We're
sorry.
gonna
I
talk-
jumped the
we-
gun.
We actually are going to talk about that. It's a
Yep.
very famous wolf, or werewolf, I should say.
Well, let's also be happy that real life wolves don't turn into the things we're about to talk about,
Totally.
like wargs.
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 Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit more than your regular-ass wolf. Not a werewolf, but definitely not your regular-ass wolf. They're big. They're
This is some kind of
rideable.
monstrous, rideable, fucking dire wolf bullshit.
Yeah, they're like demonic and shit.
Yeah.
Like Tolkien describes them as a evil breed of demonic wolf, which could suggest they're inhabited by evil spirits. Couldn't find anything that did say that, but like as we'll talk about with werewolves, they are also inhabited by a dreadful spirit. So
Yeah.
wargs might be a little more evil than you know.
Never know.
But they even had their own language too, which implies that they were intelligent. Bilbo describes it as sounding terrible, but I couldn't find anything else about it just being referenced.
I can't imagine it sounded nice.
Yeah, from a wolf creature.
So some of the evil deeds of the wargs were like aiding Sauron during the Fellowship of the Ring storyline because he did have his own warg riders with his own, Uruk-hai that he bred to ride them.
Yeah. And this one's movie only, but yeah, killing Goodman Hammer like that when they ate his face off.
Just biting his face right off.
Implied off-screen ate his face.
Implying that I always assumed it like bit his head off or something.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Just doing him dirty like that. I'll never forgive the wargs for that.
Yeah, I would say wargs like trolls are like we don't have like a bunch of named ones or anything, but they're definitely still kind of like a unit in the army. There's tons of them.
Mm-hmm.
Very evil.
And then, our last wolf that we're going to talk about, the werewolf.
Of course. Werewolf.
Yes, also a thing.
Their wolf.
What?
Remember fucking Young Frankenstein?
Earwolf, werewolf, their wolf.
What are some scary shit that werewolves get up to? A lot. And in the Silmarillion, it actually says, quote, they are fell beasts inhabited by dreadful spirits.
Yeah, werewolves were created or at least corrupted from some other form of dog or hound by Sauron, who was their master and who at one time also took the shape of a great wolf himself.
Yeah, he walked among them as a wolf.
He likes to change his body up a lot.
He's a shapeshifter.
He sure is, yeah. Until he can't do it no more.
Right, it's true.
Might as well have fun with it while I can.
Mm-hmm.
Well, unlike your modern werewolf, where you're thinking of a human that probably transforms into a wolf creature, the full moon, woo. Tolkien version it's a wolf that's been corrupted by the dreadful spirit that's imprisoned in it. So it would have been just the werewolf standing on two legs with its deadly claws and teeth. I don't know how many werewolves there were, but I certainly would be scared to encounter one.
To know that they exist, really.
Right. I mean, there was
I wouldn't be happy about it. You know what I mean?
I guess we're going to talk about some of this evil stuff that they do, but there was that whole bit with
Baron.
And Finrod.
Finrod,
Finrod, that's it.
and
werewolves, eating them one by one, yeah.
Yeah, so let's start talking about some of the evil deeds that werewolves have done. Like we just mentioned, there's that evil werewolf in the pit that was killing off Baron and
eating the naked
not
crew.
Baron himself, but his friends.
All his homies.
Him
It
and
must have smelled
Finrod's friends,
awful.
killing all of them and killing
Yeah.
Finrod. Oh, God.
Yeah.
We've also got Karkaroth nearly killing Baron and ending the quest for the Silmaril. That's pretty fucking
It's
major.
pretty massive, yeah. And we got an excerpt from the good old Silmarillion of Baron and Luthien, everyone's favorite section, read by Joel.
Swiftly the wolf grew until he could creep into no den, but lay huge and angry before the feet of Morgoth. There the fire and anguish of hell entered into him, and he became filled with a devouring spirit, tormented, terrible, and strong. Karkaroth, the Red Maw, he is named in the tales of those days, and Anfauglir, the Jaws of Thirst. And Morgoth set him to lie unsleeping before the doors of Angband, lest Huon come.
So do we know what specific spirits were going into them, or just
No, that's literally all we get.
Yeah, we don't know.
The
if
fire
they're-
and anguish of hell entered into him, and he became filled with a devouring spirit, tormented, terrible, and strong.
Yeah, that's all we get. We don't know if they're Maiar, what they are. They're just spirits, tormented.
I mean, if evil existed in Middle-earth before Morgoth came over, I mean, where did Ungoliant come from, right? Maybe those spirits came from the same place.
Yeah, maybe she's one of those. Yeah, because we talked about that in the Tolkien Mysteries episode, how there's kind of unnamed or unordered evil spirits.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love about Tolkien is there's a lot of just unknown, wild spirits all over the place. Not necessarily aligned with anyone here or there, but they're all over the damn place.
Mm-hmm.
So werewolves, generally, pretty evil. Well,
Generally very evil.
very, very evil.
Very
Yeah.
evil.
Karkaroth, pretty evil.
Yeah.
Biting off Baron's hand, eating the Silmaril, killing a bunch of people, terrorizing a countryside. Karkaroth is quite evil.
Definitely not cool of him. Yeah, and they werewolves, they served Morgoth and Sauron during the First Age, right?
Yeah, done some of the terriblest shit back during the old Balerian days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably good we don't see them moving on to the Third Age.
Yeah,
it's
not much.
nice that they stayed out of it.
Yeah.
oh God,
You
can
know?
you imagine werewolves stumbling upon the Shire?
Oh my God! Just they'd be eating those hobbits like little snacks. It'd be like eating what are those Teddy Grams?
Oh, I love
Teddy
Teddy
Grams.
It'd be like eating Teddy Grams to them.
All right, well, let's jump to our next creature on the list, and probably our biggest creature category, ghosts, like general ghosts and spirits.
Ghosts.
Coming in at number 4.
Coming in at number 4. So this includes things like the Barrow Wights, the Wraiths, and just other general undead ghosts.
Yeah. One of our favorite ghosts is the ghost of Gorlam the Unhappy.
Yes, so let's start there. So Gorlam the Unhappy, that's just the ghost of Gorlam, and he's a character from Beren and Luthien who gets killed by Sauron, and his ghost is described as a quivering, gray, floating shadow.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is putting this on all ghosts are evil, or that Gorlam is just an asshole. But, he did some fucked up things, and he betrayed the location of Barahir and his hidden camp. Not cool of him.
I don't know if I'd label Gorlam himself as evil, because he does kind of repent and he warns Beren, but his actions...
No, a dick, but an honest
It led
dick.
to a lot of
He
death.
remains.
It led to a lot of death.
Yeah.
A fool, but an honest fool.
Yeah, yeah.
So
A
also,
negligent foolishness, yeah.
also included under ghosts, we've got probably one of the more famous examples, the Dead Men of Dunharrow.
Oh, yeah. These ones are real scary. Honestly, some of the scariest guys. They're described as gray shadows with gleaming red eyes, and their voices sound like they came from far away.
Oogie.
Oogie.
And in the books, the characters frequently refer to them as either the Shadow Host or the Grey Host.
Like as a whole?
Yeah, as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, Gimli points out that they do carry pale swords, but he's not entirely sure whether or not those swords actually could, quote, still bite, because they never actually ended up needing to use them, because anyone that came before them just ran in fear or killed themselves.
Straight up. Just driven by madness.
They're terrified.
Well, and how long have they been ghosts, right? Do ghost blades dull over time?
Yeah, I don't know yet. I don't know if they needed
they're
some
super
ghost
blunt,
sharp
yeah.
stones. I don't know.
You got some ghost smithies up in here?
Well, we've got a great excerpt from The Return of the King, Book 5, Chapter 9, The Last Debate, read by Danny.
Pale swords were drawn, but I know not whether their blades could still bite. For the dead needed no longer any weapon but fear. None would withstand them. To every ship they came that was drawn up, and all the mariners were filled with a madness of terror, and leapt overboard, save the slaves chained to the oars. Reckless we rode among our fleeing foes, driving them like leaves, until we came to the shore. Ere that day ended, none of the enemy were left to resist us. All were drowned or were flying south in hope to find their own lands upon foot.
I wouldn't wait around either.
That's crazy. Like leaves.
Yeah, just head out on foot. He's like, fuck this.
How many of the dead men of Dunharrow would we assume there are?
I don't know. I saw some debate about it online. Some people assume there's a ton. Some people assume there's not too many. I don't know.
I don't think there's a whole hell of a lot of them.
I don't think there needs to be.
Wouldn't we
No.
assume maybe small army? Not even that many?
Yeah, maybe a couple thousand at the very most, I'm thinking.
Right.
I don't think it was a huge group of people. Because, it was a group of people. So the background of the Dead Men of Dunharrow is they were a pre-Numenorian group of people living in Dunharrow, right?
All right, and then they ended up breaking an oath to Isildur?
Right, they swore an oath on the Stone of Eric, which was brought over from Numenor
Oh, okay.
by Isildur, right? And they swore an oath on that stone to be loyal to the kingdom of Gondor, the Numenorian kings in exile, right? And Isildur eventually called on them when they were doing the last alliance. They said no. He said, fuck you, you're cursed forever. And that's how they became
That's that.
the dead men.
Would it have made a huge difference if they had fought?
If they had fought when they called them?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
don't
imagine
think
it
he
would
would've-
have. They're a sizable force that could have helped.
Yeah, all hands on deck for the last alliance, man. It was
yeah,
it was a hell of a fight.
it's hard to say they even won the last alliance.
yeah.
Nobody really won the last alliance. I
Yeah.
guess Sauron did get put down for a while. It's true.
Yeah.
But
There were just
almost
more
all
survivors.
the almost all the leaders of the Free Peoples got killed. Also, it was pretty crazy.
It was a big mess. So it could have helped out. You never know.
That was a pretty evil thing that they did.
Yeah.
So let's jump to the next creature that's kind of categorized under ghosts. So we're talking about the Barrow Wights. We love the Barrow Wights. They're nice. They're good and creepy.
Yeah, so Barrow Wights, scary stuff. They were evil spirits, although it's not known if they were perverted Maiar or spirits of orcs or fallen elves or evil men even.
They're just described as evil spirits.
Evil friggin' spirits.
Yeah, they were known to animate the dead bones of the Dunedain that were buried in that region, as well as older bones of Edain from the First Age, which were, still buried in the Barrow Downs area.
Scary.
Yeah, very scary.
Gross, too, kind of.
Yeah, they're described as shadowy figures with a pale, icy light gleaming from their eyes. They had deep, hollow, and cold voices, and their touch was icy cold. Dang, so they not only do they possess the corpse, but they make it freezing.
Yeah, it does get cold around them. They're infamous for carrying rattling gold rings on their bony fingers. Very creepy.
That creates a creepy. Just imagining their fingers clicking together as they rattling.
That's gross, right? Didn't the when the hobbits woke up from their like fever dream or whatever, weren't they wearing rings too?
Yes, they were wearing jewelry and clothes that they didn't have on, and creepy stuff.
You think maybe they entertain themselves when nobody's around by like having little dance offs and like it's like tap dancing but with their rings on their fingers? They're just clicking around.
It makes me think of Freddy Krueger with like his
his claws.
Yeah.
Well, instead of their dance numbers, let's talk a little bit about their evil deeds. See, that was a transition. See that transition?
Oh,
smooth.
So they were, sent by the Witch King of Angmar to the Barrow Downs in order to essentially to prevent the resurrection of the destroyed Northern Kingdom, specifically the Dunedain Kingdom of Cardolan.
Right, which is you'll remember if you remember your Arnor history, your Northern Kingdom, which is one of the 3 kingdoms
within Arnor
that it eventually split into because some king's sons were mad at each other and couldn't agree on who got to be king. So they split up into 3 kingdoms. Cardolan was one of them, Rhudaur the other, Arthedain, the true Arnor. So that's where the kingdom of Cardolan was, one of those, the sects of the Northern Kingdom.
Yeah, and the Witch King wanted to prevent it from ever coming back after he destroyed it, so he infested it with the Barrow Wights.
Mm-hmm.
Real spooky. Keep people out of there. And, of course, the Barrow Wights also almost ended the quest for the ring right off the bat. It's like one of the first things that happens to them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things almost ended it right off the bat.
It's
right
true.
there.
Yeah, before they even left.
It was almost strangled in its crib several times.
Before they even left the Shire. Yeah, it's true.
How come Sauron didn't use the Barrow Wights later? Like they weren't destroyed, right? So
I don't know if they because they answered to the Witch King, so maybe the Witch King could
They're
come
kind of
back
like
and...
spirit landmines meant to keep anyone from
that's a good way to put 'em.
populating the region. So he didn't really have any reason to use them and take them. And
I suppose
they're doing what they're
still
meant to
doing
do.
their job. Yeah, they're still doing their job.
isn't the place they are called the Barrow Downs?
Right.
Yeah.
I suppose. Yeah, landmines works. I guess if you assume that they can't move from place to place.
They kind of chill on the Barrow Downs as far as
They got a good union.
I could.
They got a lot of good benefits.
Yeah.
Well, we got to finish off our subject of ghosts and spirits with clearly the most terrifying of them all, the Nazgul, the ring wraiths.
The baddies, the real ones, the scariest. What is some scary stuff they do? Well, to mortals, the Nazguls, their appearance is scary because they just appear as shadowy men, hidden by black hoods and cloaks. And the cloaks reach down all the way to their boots.
Now, without their cloaks, they were basically shapeless, at least to regular mortals, and appeared invisible to everyone except whoever was wearing the One Ring.
Yeah, when the Witch King removed his hood, his head was invisible, but you could see his crown and the gleam of his red eyes.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure if you were wearing the ring though, like he'd have a wraith body, right?
Yeah.
In the unseen world?
It's true, yeah. So to anyone wearing the One Ring, their forms could be seen clearly, and the wraiths were tall, and beneath their black cloaks, they were robed in gray. And their hair was gray, and they wore silver helms, and the Witch King himself wore a crown.
Their eyes were merciless and piercing, and their hands were haggard.
Haggard.
Merle Haggard.
Would they be like, you think, zombie-like in appearance?
I figured they'd
Or,
be haggard.
or
I think that's a good synonym.
Yeah. Let's get into some of the evil shit that they do. Cause
Yeah, the evil shit that
they
the
do a
Nazgul
lot.
do. Yeah,
Just-
they do a lot.
In a nutshell, we got just the greatest hits here for you.
Yeah, so just being, in general, the deadliest servants to serve Sauron ever.
Period.
I mean, they number 9?
9 of them.
9 of them, right?
Yeah, there's 9 of them, and they're the greatest hunters of all time.
Yeah, they'll
And
get
you can't even really kill them.
Well,
They're
they
like
were
spirits.
Dunedain, right?
It's suspected.
Some of them are suspected to be doing it.
Some of them at
it's
least.
not fully known, but it's suspected that
Yeah.
they're Dunedain.
Yeah, one way or another, they're gonna find you. They're gonna get you.
God damn it. They also almost kill the Fellowship multiple times throughout pretty much all the books.
Oh yeah, they're kind of the main antagonists, really.
yeah.
They keep the story moving, really.
Yeah, they do.
They kind of chase the Fellowship to their goal in a way.
And
really.
any encounter with them is always like extremely dangerous.
Yeah, it's always dire shit when you're facing the Nazgul.
Well, how do you kill a Nazgul?
Exactly. You can't really. It's hard.
I'd also, for one of their evil deeds, it's being super annoying in the Fellowship of the Ring video game.
Yes. Oh my god.
So they also almost turn Frodo into a Nazgul. That's pretty fucking evil, turning one of the ring bearers into a wraith.
I want to
Mhm.
see that alternate history.
That'd be pretty
Yeah,
cool.
personally,
Evil
Frodo.
Dark Frodo.
Dark Frodo.
Dark
Yeah.
Frodo.
Dark Frodo.
Do you think they would have hazed him?
Did some wraith hazing. You want to be the 10th Nazgul? You got to eat this piece of dog shit. Yeah.
And then, of course, there's the fall of the entire Northern Kingdom, which was speared by the Witch King, the leader of the
Right,
Nazgul.
that was totally orchestrated by that
by the
motherfucker.
Nazgul.
Yeah.
And then, of course, all of the other unknown general war crimes
Oh,
that the
sure.
Nazgul have committed
Right.
on behalf of Sauron.
I mean, look what they did in Osgiliath, right? That's not cool.
Not cool.
No, that's not cool at all.
Not cool.
Really. Yeah, they're known for just doing not cool stuff, the Nazgul. Fuck them. I don't like them.
I mean, they're pretty cool though. I mean,
They are pretty sick.
They're kind of
They're
metal.
pretty sick. They're pretty metal.
They're pretty
You're
gnarly.
right. You're
They're
right.
ultimate.
It's kind of crazy there's 3 more ahead of...
The
They're pretty
Nazgul.
fucking
Yeah.
evil.
Oh, yeah, the
They're
evil
pretty,
things
they
are
are pretty
damn
fucking evil, and they've
Yeah.
done some evil shit. But yeah, so we're getting there, folks. So that was the end of our ghosts, and there are still 3 more categories of creatures ahead. Next on the list, number 3, Balrogs.
Yeah. Balrogs, number 3. They're Maiar, corrupted by Morgoth during the creation of Arda, of course, in the very beginning. They took the form of demons, and they cloaked themselves in shadow and flame.
Yeah, generally they're thought to be about twice the height of a man. They stood on 2 legs, and they wielded whips of flame and swords and axes. So they are well armed. On top of just being, demons of fire.
Huge
Right.
demons of fire.
Right.
It's debated as to whether or not they had wings, and we will not rehash our argument here.
We
but
can't. We don't have time
we
for
don't
it.
have we don't have time for
We don't
that.
have time for it. Meet me in the fucking Discord, yo.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
But
We'll throw down on Discord.
We'll throw down.
in general, with or without them, these creatures are terrifying.
Yes. Yes, they are. And we have a terrifying little quote from the Valaquenta. This is of the enemies. This is a fun little part where they're describing all the bad people, all the bad characters in Middle-earth. This is even before the Silmarillion starts. This is like the Valaquenta, even before
Yeah, it's
that.
basically the beginning of evil. So.
Yeah, they're describing the very beginning of it. Trevor's going to read it for us. Check it out, guys.
Of the Maiar, many were drawn to Melkor's splendor in the days of his greatness, and remained in that allegiance down into his darkness. And others he corrupted afterwards to his service with lies and treacherous gifts. Dreadful among these spirits were the Velaraukar, the scourges of fire that in Middle-earth were called the Balrogs, demons of terror.
Demons.
Hell yeah. We'll talk briefly about Balrogs here, but check out. It was just last season, right? We did a Balrogs episode.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, we do so much of this.
Evil
I don't
creatures.
know. Yeah, it was part of our Evil Creatures trilogy. Check out the Balrogs. You can get a whole history of what they're up to
Oh yes.
there. But some of the greatest hits of their evil deeds. They're dropping dimes for Morgoth here in the Wars of Beleriand. They're really dropping those assists for him.
Yeah, very hard. They were huge workers for Morgoth back during the First Age. So they were big in the Dagor Bragollach. They were involved in the Near Nathar Nordiade and the Fall of Gondolin. They were huge movers in these events.
And they almost totally screwed the Fellowship probably harder than anybody by straight up killing Gandalf and almost ending the quest.
Kind of the closest call, really.
Yeah, really the closest call we've had.
Like somebody dies.
Killing Gandalf, who is like one of the most important characters to saving the world.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like when you lose your queen and chess, you're just
pretty much, yeah.
Fuck, it's all over.
Yeah.
It's all over.
Like you haven't lost the game yet, but the game's over.
Yeah. Joe Vasky's going to read an excerpt from The Fellowship of the Ring, Book 2, Chapter 5, Bridge of Khazad-dûm. Awesome part.
The ranks of the orcs had opened, and they crowded away as if they themselves were afraid. Something was coming up behind them. What it was could not be seen. It was like a great shadow, in the middle of which was a dark form, of man shape maybe, yet greater, and a power and terror seemed to be in it and to go before it. It came to the edge of the fire, and the light faded as if a cloud had bent over it. Then with a rush it leaped across the fissure. The flames roared up to greet it and wreathed about it, and a black smoke swirled in the air. Its streaming mane kindled and blazed behind it. In its right hand was a blade like a stabbing tongue of fire. In its left it held a whip of many thongs. "Aye, aye," wailed Legolas. A Balrog is come." Gimli stared with wide eyes. "Durin's bane," he cried, and letting his axe fall, he covered his face. "A Balrog," muttered Gandalf. "Now I understand." He faltered and leaned heavily on his staff. "What an evil fortune, and I am already weary."
Yeah, it would ultimately kill him.
Poor Gandalf.
Yeah.
Dude, what if Gandalf would have been at full strength?
Yeah.
How would that have been different?
They do this a lot in comics and anime where they'll have a protagonist to be super strong, but you have to nerf him to make the Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if you read the early Doctor Strange comics, he is never fully rested. He's always wounded. He's never at full strength. You always have to nerf him somehow because he's so OP that there's just no way you could have him at full strength unless you're fighting the biggest and the baddest.
I suppose that's a good way to nerf a character.
Yeah.
Just
make
keep him low the whole time. Kick him when they're down.
Doctor Strange has to fight these interdimensional monsters, but somebody stabbed him earlier,
Well, Balrogs, pretty evil.
Number 3.
Number 3, Balrogs. Born evil.
Let's get into some somehow eviler creatures.
Eviler than fire demons?
Yeah. And that's another servant of Melkor, right? The dragons.
The dragons. Some of the most genuinely evil beings to ever live. Every single dragon that exists is evil.
Number 2.
Coming in at number 2. Yeah.
I was going to say.
There's one more evil than this. I mean, and dragons are damn evil.
Dragons are very evil. So let's talk about dragons for a little bit. So we've talked about dragons a whole bunch in the past, but as a quick recap for Tolkien's dragons are most well known as being huge four-legged reptile creatures with wings and fire breath. Not all have fire breath, not all have wings, but they are all that very classical European-style dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're covered with scales as tough as iron, and they have a soft, vulnerable underbelly, as you would sort of expect of a reptile creature. And most people would picture Smaug, but there's also in Celegon the Black, which is definitely the most terrifying of the winged dragons.
Hands down.
Right,
absolutely.
largest dragon ever lived, just absolutely massive. Slew by Eärendil in the War of Wrath, right?
I want to see that fight. This tiny little dude fighting this massive,
enormous
mountainous dragon.
We made a joke that he flew Vingulot up his asshole to kill it. That. I think that's the only way.
That's one way to do it. Yeah.
Or I shouldn't use it. It's a dragon, so it would be a cloaca, right? It would.
Gotta be anatomically correct.
Sorry to offend any reptiles.
Is that confirmed in the Legendarium?
I don't know
Yes,
what kind of
the
canon?
cloaca is not confirmed
It's
in
not
the
confirmed.
in the canon.
We don't know what their excretory.
I think
organs are like.
it may be safe to assume, just given the whole reptile thing.
Yeah, I'd
but,
say so. Yeah, it's cloaca. We'll say that. KOT says dragons have cloacas. Deal with it.
So not all dragons, like Joel had said earlier, could breathe fire. The ones that couldn't were known as cold drakes. And I don't think we really know that they had any other like special ability
Right.
relating to being a cold drake. But before the appearance of the winged dragons during the War of Wrath, dragons were wingless, so they got wings over time, and they were more snake-like. Like, I think one of the pictures that Tolkien drew himself was kind of a very long dragon with like
Serpentine,
like a snake. But they were still, they were definitely evil. All dragons have been evil, and wingless dragons were no less terrible than the winged ones. Really, I mean, Glaurung, father of dragons, most notable of the wingless dragons.
I'd say Glaurung might be arguably the most terrifying dragon of them all.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading that Morgoth can speak or Glaurung can speak Morgoth's words.
Oh, maybe. I'd have to look into that. I don't know that specifically, but that could be true.
His words are enchanted, that's for sure. He can cast spells and stuff with his speech. I don't know if he's like you mean he speaks directly to Malcor? Like,
No, like Malcor's voice will come out of his mouth.
oh shit.
Oh, like he's like a conduit for
Yeah,
Echo's
kind
voice.
of, yeah.
I've never heard that. That's pretty crazy.
That'd be nuts. Channel it through the dragon spell, bro.
I like that shit. So, evil deeds, if you're talking evil deeds of dragons, there's really only one thing that you have to talk about, and it kind of just clinches it just right then and there, and that's the Children of Húrin featuring Glaurung.
Featuring.
Yeah, his whole Glaurung's whole curse, it really drives the whole story of the Children of Húrin. It is probably the most tragic and evil thing anyone's ever done. There is
Just
one
diabolical.
more. There is one more creature after this that's probably more evil, but this is one of the most evil things anyone or anything's ever done.
Mm-hmm. And we have got an excerpt from the Children of Húrin here, chapter 17, the death of Glaurung. This is a sad one. Have fun, guys.
At the cry of Nino, Glaurung stirred for the last time, and a quiver ran through all his body, and he opened his baleful eyes a slit, and the moon gleamed in them as he gasped and spoke. Hail, Nienor, daughter of Húrin, we meet again ere the end. I give you joy that you have found your brother at last. Now you shall know him, a stabber in the dark, treacherous to foes, faithless to friends, and a curse unto his kin, Túrin, son of Húrin. But the worst of all his deeds you shall feel in yourself. Then Nienor sat as one stunned, but Glaurung died, and with his death the veil of his malice fell from her, and all her memory grew clearer before her. From day until day, neither did she forget any of those things that had befallen her since, and her whole body shook with horror and anguish. Then suddenly Nienor stood to her feet, and stood pale as a wraith in the moon, and looked down on Túrin and cried, Farewell, O twice beloved, ah, Túrin Túrambar, Túrun Ambarnatan, master of doom, by doom mastered, oh, happy to be dead. Swiftly she came to the brink of Cabinaras, and there stood and looked on the loud water, crying, Water, water, take me now, Nienor, daughter of Húrin, mourning, mourning daughter of Morwen, take me and bear me down to the sea. With that she cast herself over the brink, a flash of white, swallowed in the dark chasm, a cry, lost in the roaring of the river.
Dude, Glaurung.
What a psycho, dude. Like,
Evil.
really.
Like, that is pure evil.
And like, we don't just from this one quote know all the context of why exactly this is so terrible, but you will soon enough.
You will.
You will.
You will.
We're gonna be. We got this Children of Húrin coming down the pipeline later, so
Yeah.
you'll get to know just how evil this really is.
You'll feel it up. So, also, not to mention the Fall of Gondolin, Morgoth's dragons, right?
Yep.
They featured in there.
Heavily.
The sacking of the Dwarven colony in the Grey Mountains by the dragons in the Withered Heath, also in the Grey Mountains. That was that was Third Age?
Yep.
Third Age, right?
Mhm.
Early Third Age, I think. Yeah, and the sacking of Erebor by Smaug. What a dick move, right?
Yeah, dragons, they do a lot of evil shit.
Yes, they do. But you guys thought dragons were evil? There's one more race of creatures that I think are just like so unequivocally evil.
Yes, this race of creatures is pure evil, like the epitome of evil, just evil and gross and scary and spooky.
I don't think like most people would expect this to be.
No,
the
I don't think so
most
either.
evil.
I think we might get some shit for this, and I'm hoping we kind of get some shit for this. Honestly,
I mean, I agree
debated.
with our
I
list.
debated with dragons because of how evil Glaurung is, but I think this really takes the cake.
yeah, because I would agree. We'll get into it in a second here.
But when we are talking about spiders, at number 1 most scary creature.
Specifically the giant spiders, aka the brood of Ungoliant. We're not just talking about like the bugs.
Yeah, regular tiny little
Right.
spiders are not evil.
They're blameless in this.
They're blameless.
Yeah, they're victims, really.
We're talking about the giant
Yeah,
spiders,
they're
the evil
victims.
ones.
They keep all the annoying bugs, the populations down, so that humans can inhabit the world, right?
So let's talk a little bit about those spiders. So Tolkien spiders are often depicted as black or gray in color with thick spider-like fur or hair.
Like giant tarantula.
Yeah. Yeah, they're described with some insect qualities like, clustered compound eyes and things.
Which I thought was pretty interesting, that Tolkien decided that the spiders, arachnids, are also needing to be insects. Like, I
Yeah.
think that definitely ups their creep factor for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But Ungoliant and all of her brood, every single one of them are enormous.
They're big.
They're big. And like,
Yeah.
not like, hamster big. We're talking at least like house cat, if not larger,
Right?
to the size of a bus, even. Yeah.
Enormous
Oh, you know what?
creatures.
I even put a description in the outline. Should have just went with it. From like this all the way up to the size of an elephant, just
Yeah.
from her
They're
spawn
huge.
alone.
Yeah.
And Ungoliant herself was a giant among giants, like already way bigger.
Oh yeah, at one point she was big enough to scare even Melkor himself, right?
Yeah.
And is that one? Did he have to call like his Balrogs
Yeah.
out of hiding to
Yeah,
come?
Right.
He sure did. Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
also the only creature in Middle-earth that is known to wield the unlight, the darkness so deep that not even light could penetrate or escape it.
Right.
The black hole on light.
Yep. Ungoliant's lastborn was Shelob, and she was also particularly huge, but not as big as her mother. But also, Shelob, grossly huge, nasty thing that comes up in the Lord of the Rings.
Nasty, like they describe the descriptors that he uses are like saggy and swollen and
Yeah.
smelly and like
I don't know if this is true, but I heard somewhere like a long time ago that Tolkien was like kind of terrified of spiders because he had a incident with one in South Africa or
So
something.
I was reading into that.
Did you read about
and
that?
and it's not that Tolkien was not afraid. His son was afraid of spiders.
Oh,
'Cause he was bit by one
Christopher
as a
was.
kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's at least what I read.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I remember hearing something about that way back in the day. That's cool. Cool. You found that.
Let's talk about some of the evil things that spiders have done. So we know all about a lot of the classic stuff, with Shelob and whatnot, but we really want to focus on why spiders are the most evil, you know.
Why?
So we know that they nearly ended the quest of the One Ring. Shelob did that. The giant spiders nearly killed Beren and traumatized him for life when he passed through Nandung Gortheb, that evil
Right.
valley. And, the evil spiders in Mirkwood that captured Thorn and company.
Right.
That's scary too. But
That's all
the,
scary.
the thing that
All
takes
scary
the
and
cake,
good.
the thing that takes
Well,
the cake.
Most evil
Let me-
deed.
and why it takes can I like get a little philosophical here for a second?
Yeah.
We're talking about evil here, right?
Evil.
So evil is the opposite of good, right?
Right.
So what is
Right,
the most?
right?
Yeah, right.
Right.
I would like to think so. But so what is the most good thing that have ever existed in Tolkien? Right. The most unequivocally good things.
The trees?
The light of the trees, right? And what did this fucking spider do?
Killed it.
Drank it up,
Ate
man.
it.
Ate it.
Sucked it
Not just
dry.
killed it, but consumed it.
Consumed it.
So anyway, so the most evil deed that we're talking about here, guys, if you haven't guessed by now, we're talking about the darkening of Valinor, the death of the two trees by Ungoliant herself. I personally think that this is probably the
This
most
is so evil and fucked up. It trumps everything.
It's the most evil act ever performed, like in my opinion,
Yeah, I would agree.
by an evil creature.
I would agree. I stand by our decision to put it at number 1.
Yeah, I debated with because Glaurung does some pretty twisted shit with
Sure
the
does,
whole
yeah.
incest thing and whatnot, but
That's like personal evil though.
it's very
This-
twisted and dark.
This
but this is
Ungoliant,
like
affects everybody.
yeah, this is
Yeah, she's
this is
like, I'm
major.
ridding the world of good, a huge source of good.
Yeah.
So we've got an awesome excerpt here to end off our evil list for you guys, and this is an excerpt about the darkening of Valinor from the Silmarillion Chapter 8, and it's going to be read by Danny.
Then the unlight of Ungoliant rose up even to the roots of the trees, and Melkor sprang upon the mound, and with his black spear he smote each tree to its core, wounded them deep, and their sap poured forth as if it were their blood, and was spilling upon the ground. But Ungoliant sucked it up, and going then from tree to tree, she set her black beak to the wounds, till they were drained, and the poison of death that was in her went into their tissues, and withered them, root, branch, and leaf, and they died. So the great darkness fell upon Valinor. The light failed, but the darkness that followed was more than the loss of light. In that hour was made a darkness that seemed not lack, but a thing with being of its own. For it was indeed made by malice, out of light, and it had the power to pierce the eye, and to enter the heart and mind, and strangle the very will. Varda looked down from Teniquetil, and beheld the shadows soaring up in the sudden towers of gloom. Soon the holy mountain stood alone, a last island in the world that was drowned. All songs ceased. There was silence in Valinor, and no sound could be heard, save only from afar that there came on the wind through the pass of the mountains the wailing of the Teleri, like the cold cry of gulls.
And that, I think, is the most evil deed ever.
Boom!
Because
Yeah.
that destroyed the light of the trees. That eliminated the trees from the entire world. That goodness was taken from the whole world permanently. I mean, you can argue that it sort of survived in the Silmarils, but the Silmarils didn't do much to help nobody at any point.
No,
at any time.
not the whole world like the
Right.
fucking trees did, yeah.
I'd argue it would have been better if the Silmarils had never been made, but that's
Yeah,
just me.
we debate about that all the time, yeah.
But yeah, so that ends off our list of evil creatures ranked by most evil deeds.
Yeah!
There's a lot of evil.
That was a lot of
going on.
evil. So we hope you're getting real good and eviled up and spooked up for Halloween.
Heck yeah.
Especially ending off with spiders. Oh boy.
And this next thing we're going to do, we did a little bit of creepypastas last year, if you remember right. It was a companion piece. We did some little creepypastas
Very
that
fun.
had...
Very fun.
Yeah, very fun. That had token characters. So the new idea we had this year was to have some creepypastas, token creepypastas written by AI. So we used chat, our good old pal Chat GPT, to make some fun creepypastas for us. And we got 3 of them here for you.
We're going to react to them for you guys.
We're gonna
live.
React to them.
Because I have not read any of them, actually.
Oh, cool.
So this will be fun.
This will be super fun.
I'm real excited for these.
I've only read mine, so...
Okay, yeah, and I'll give you guys the Chat GPT prompt for each one that we put in.
Yeah, so we basically, how this works is we describe to the AI what we want it to write, the parameters, we give it a length, and say, go. Super simple.
It might not be what you expect as a result,
But it does it.
but it does it.
It accomplishes the task you ask it to do.
And honestly, you guys, I've been looking forward to this the whole episode.
Yeah, this has been a long
I've been
episode, but
antsy to see what these turn out to be.
hell yeah, I'm excited.
All right, so this first one, the prompt was, write a story about a group of Lord of the Rings characters meeting for a dinner party. There they begin to get mysteriously murdered in bizarre ways by an unknown assailant. As the Lord of the Rings characters gather clues, they realize the villain is... I'm gonna leave it there.
Oh, okay. Don't reveal.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll
okay,
just leave
okay.
it there for now.
The dinner party from Mordor. One fine evening in Rivendell, Elrond decided to host a dinner party. He invited all the notable characters from Middle-earth. The guest list included Frodo, Sam, Merry, Pippin, Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, Gandalf, and even Gollum, because why not?
That's exciting. All right.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to loosen up, you know?
The table was laden with food, and the wine was flowing, and everyone was in high spirits. Yeah, it's a party. It's Rivendell, baby. Right? As the evening progressed, Elrond raised his glass. To friendship and victory. Everyone cheered and clinked their glasses. Little did they know, the night was about to take a dark turn. Suddenly the lights flickered, and they went out. Then they came back on. Gollum was lying face down in his soup, not moving. Shit. Gandalf rushed over and checked his pulse. He's dead. Gandalf announced dramatically. Strangled by spaghetti.
What the fuck?
Okay. Everyone gasped. Who would do such a thing? Frodo exclaimed. We must find the killer, Aragorn said, drawing his sword. No one leaves until we solve this mystery. The guests began to search for clues. Sam found a suspicious red nose underneath the table. What's this? He asked, holding it up. Maybe Gollum had just had a reaction to the soup, Pippin suggested, looking
Shut
hopeful.
the fuck up, Pippin.
What,
Yeah,
what does
honestly,
that mean? What?
Even ChatGPT knows that Pippin, like, everyone thinks Pippin is a dumbass.
The worst.
Like, just so nonsensical. No, this is murder, Gandalf declared. A very bizarre murder. Just then, a loud scream echoed through the halls. Everyone rushed to the source and found Legolas impaled on his own arrows.
Oh, fuck.
Pinned to the wall like a macabre piece of art.
Jesus Christ.
Oh boy.
This is getting out of hand, Aragorn shouted. We need to stay together. Yeah, they're just splitting.
I would say it's getting out of hand.
I think it's getting out of hand. There's no way that this many people should be dead. As they huddled in the dining room trying to
Yeah,
figure
aren't they
out...
in Rivendell right now?
Yeah, they're in Rivendell, dude. That one of the safest places in Eriador, really. As they huddled in the dining room trying to figure out their next move, Gimli found a piece of paper with a strange clownish doodles on it.
What the fuck?
What's this supposed to be? He asked. It looks like something a madman would draw, Mary said, shivering. Gandalf's eyes widened. I've seen these drawings before. They belong to Art the Clown.
What the fuck?
Gandalf knows.
Gandalf's familiar with Art the Clown.
Yeah, I like how he has heard of him.
Gandalf continues. A malevolent being from a far-off realm known for his gruesome and bizarre killings. Art the Clown? Aragorn repeated. What kind of name is that? A terrifying one, Gandalf replied. We must find him before he kills again. Suddenly Pippin stumbled back, clutching his throat. He collapsed to the floor, an apple lodged in his mouth.
What?
He's choking, Mary cried, trying to pull the apple out, but it was too late. Pippin was gone. So this had nothing to do with Art the Clown.
I was going to say, this could just be Pippin being
This
a
is
dumbass.
Pippin just being stupid. He choked to death on an
Choking
apple.
on his own food.
This is madness, Frodo said, shaking. How do we stop him? We need to lure him out, Gandalf said, and we'll use the One Ring as bait.
Jesus Christ.
But I don't have the One Ring, Frodo said, confused. I threw it into Mount Doom, remember? Gandalf sighed. Right. Well, we'll need another plan then.
Come on,
damn.
Gandalf.
How fucked up is
Gandalf-
Gandalf?
Yeah, how
line does he
drunk
have?
were they? Yeah. Oh my god. Just then the lights flickered again. In the darkness there was a sound of maniacal laughter. When the lights came back on, Aragorn was missing. In his place a note was written in blood. You're next.
Jesus. Aragorn?
Yeah, they got Aragorn.
Fuck.
Art the Clown got him.
Jesus Christ. That's no small task.
Yeah. Okay, that's it, Sam said. I'm out of here. As he tried to leave, the door slammed shut and locked itself. We're trapped, Sam cried. Calm down, Samwise, Gandalf said. We must calm down. We must stay calm and think. Think about what? Mary shouted. We're all gonna die. Not if we find Art first, Gandalf says. Everyone spread out and search the house.
Gandalf.
Be careful. Gandalf's the dumbass that
He's
goes,
in on it.
We should split up.
Yeah.
Gandalf's in on it.
The group split up nervously, checking rooms and corridors. In the library, Mary found a bizarre grinning mask. Before he could react, Art the Clown appeared behind him, holding a giant mallet.
Jesus.
Oh no, Mary whispered, but it was too late.
Oh no.
With one swing, Art sent Mary flying across the room, and he crashed into a bookshelf. He was buried in books. Frodo and Sam, meanwhile, found themselves in the kitchen. We need weapons, Frodo said, grabbing a rolling pin. Is that really going to help? Sam asked. He took a frying pan anyway. Back in the dining room, Gandalf and Gimli were ambushed by Art. You shall not pass, Gandalf yelled. But Art was unfazed. He produced a balloon animal, which was inexplicably turned into a real snake, and bit Gandalf. As Gandalf fell, Art turned to Gimli, who swung his axe. But Art dodged it and threw a pie in Gimli's face. The pie was apparently deadly because Gimli immediately collapsed.
Jesus Christ.
Deadly
What was
pie
in the
splat.
pie?
What was in the pie?
Frodo and Sam returned to the dining room, armed and ready, only to find it empty except for Art, who was sitting at a table enjoying a slice of cake. There he is, Frodo shouted. Get him. They charged at Art, but he disappeared in a puff of smoke, reappearing behind them. Art grabbed Frodo and tied him up with party streamers. Sam swung his frying pan, but Art dodged easily and tripped Sam with a rubber chicken.
Is this how art? I've never seen any
No,
of the
Never seen the
Terrifier.
Terrifier movies. It's
They're getting off easy
they're
compared
getting
to.
yeah, they're getting off easy to what Art will do to you. Like this
But
is
does
like
he actually do clown gags like this? Like,
yes, but more with like unbelievable amounts of violence
okay.
than this shtick that he's doing here.
This is tame and funny. So
Yeah,
far.
this is like some Art the Clown is a PG. Yeah. Art the Clown's done some of the most fucked up things I've ever seen in movies. Like Art the Clown is no joke. Like he's not as fun and games as this. I mean, he's still killing people, but he's doing it in a very lighthearted type of way. You know.
Okay.
So where were we, children?
with everyone.
With everyone else, or with everyone either dead or incapacitated. It was up to Frodo and Sam. We can't give up, Frodo said, struggling against the streamers. Think, Frodo, think, Sam urged. Suddenly, Frodo remembered something. The ring. I don't have the real one, but maybe. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a fake ring.
What?
A trinket from a previous adventure. Why not, dude? Why not?
All right. The plot armor here is getting a little thick.
Hey, Art, you want this? He shouted. Art paused, tilting his head curiously. Frodo threw the fake ring into the fireplace. Art dove after it, but as he reached into the flames, he realized it was a trick. Dumbass. In the moment of distraction, Sam broke free and whacked Art with the frying pan. Art staggered, dazed. Frodo freed himself and grabbed a nearby candlestick. Together they managed to push Art into the fireplace. As he burned, he let out a final eerie laugh before collapsing into ashes. The survivors gathered, exhausted but relieved. Is it over? Sam asked. I think so, said Frodo, looking at the ashes. But we'll have to be on guard. Who knows what other horrors await us. As dawn broke over Rivendell, the surviving heroes vowed never to speak of the bizarre and terrifying night again. They cleaned up the mess, buried their friends, and tried to forget the sight of Art the Clown's sinister grin. The only thing I have a problem with is Art the Clown famously makes no sounds.
Oh, really?
He's a mime. Yeah, he's silent.
Oh.
They did a good job, though, not other than the laughing.
Other than the maniacal laughing. Art does not laugh. He will pantomime laughing as he murders you, but
Well,
he's not.
I think the laughing works pretty good for a podcast, though, because at least,
Right.
yeah, you can't really mime well.
Right. I'm not convinced that that ChatGPT's seen the Terrifier films. I'm not convinced.
We'll have to ask later.
We'll ask him later.
That was pretty fun, though. I actually really enjoyed that.
That was fun. And yeah, check out those Terrifier films. They're not for the faint of heart, honestly. They're pretty fucking brutal, but they're very fun. And the second one is fun as shit. Okay, first one. Super fun.
For the second one, the prompt was write a comical parody of The Shining using Frodo Baggins as Jack Torrance and Samwise Gamgee as Jack's wife, Wendy. Mary Brandybuck and Pippin Took as Jack's son, Danny, and using the Prancing Pony as the Overlook Hotel, and use Eladon and Elrohir as the Ghost Twins.
Nice. That's fun. I love that.
All right. This one is called The Shiring.
Ooh, clever.
I like it.
Frodo Baggins was looking for a new adventure. The One Ring had been destroyed, and peace had returned to Middle-earth. But peace was boring. So when he heard that the Prancing Pony and Bree needed a winter caretaker, he jumped at the opportunity. Are you sure about this, Mr. Frodo? Samwise Gamgee asked, wringing his hands. We could just stay in the Shire where it's safe and warm. Nonsense, Sam, Frodo replied, adjusting his scarf. A little time away from the Shire will do us good. Besides, it'll be fun. And so Frodo, Sam, and their mischievous young cousins, Mary Brandybuck and Pippin Took, set off for the Prancing Pony. When they arrived, they were greeted by Barlaam Butterbur, the innkeeper.
Oh, cool.
Welcome, welcome, Barlaam said cheerfully. Glad to have you here for the winter. Just remember, the Prancing Pony has a history. Some say it's haunted. Haunted? Sam squeaked, looking around nervously. Nothing to worry about, I'm sure, Frodo said, waving off Sam's concerns. We're here for an adventure, right? Barlaam showed them around, highlighted the common room, the kitchen, and the many guest rooms. You'll be the only ones here, so make yourselves at home. I'll be back in the spring. With that, Barlaman left, and the four hobbits were alone in the vast, creaky inn. The first few days were uneventful. Frodo busied himself with organizing the inn's books while Sam cooked hearty meals. Merry and Pippin explored every nook and cranny, playing hide-and-seek and inventing new games. One evening, Frodo was typing away on an old typewriter he had found in the basement. He was attempting to write a novel, but the words seemed to blur together. All work and no play makes Frodo a dull hobbit, he muttered to himself. He looked up to see Merry and Pippin staring at him. "What's wrong with Uncle Frodo?" Pippin whispered to Merry. "I don't know. He's acting quite weird," Merry replied. "Let's go find something else to do." The next day, as Frodo continued to type furiously, Sam decided to check on the boiler in the basement. He was making sure it didn't get too hot, just as Barlaman had instructed. As he was adjusting the controls, he heard a faint giggle. Who's there?" Sam called out, peering into the dimly lit corners of the basement. Out of the shadows stepped Elodan and Elrohir, the identical twin sons of Elrond. They wore blue matching dresses.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Had eerie, vacant expressions.
Fuck yeah.
It's funny because elves, they do sort of wear dress-like clothing.
Yeah,
so it's like,
yeah.
"Come play with us, Sam," they said in unison, their voices echoing unnaturally. "Blimey," Sam yelled, dropping his wrench. "Frodo, Merry, Pippin, we've got ghosts." Frodo rolled his eyes when Sam told him about the twins. "It's probably just your imagination, Sam. There are no such thing as ghosts." But later that night, Frodo himself encountered the twins in the hallway. They stood, blocking his path, their eerie smiles never wavering. "Come play with us, Frodo," they chanted. "Forever and ever and ever." "Okay, that's creepy," Frodo admitted, backing away slowly. "Maybe this place is haunted." Things started getting weirder. Frodo began to lose himself in his writing, scribbling the same sentence over and over. "All work and no pipeweed makes Frodo a dull hobbit."
I agree.
Oh, ChatGPT's getting to know us a little too well.
You know.
Sam noticed Frodo's odd behavior and decided to check on him. He found Frodo typing manically, surrounded by pages of the same repeated phrase. "Mr. Frodo, are you all right?" Sam asked, eyes wide with concern. Frodo looked up, his eyes wild. "Do you want to build a snowman, Sam?" What?" Sam asked, confused. "Never mind," Frodo muttered, returning to his typing. "You wouldn't understand." Meanwhile, Merry and Pippin were having the time of their lives, exploring the prancing pony. They discovered a strange room filled with party decorations and a giant cake. Naturally, they decided to have a party. "To Frodo and the weirdest hobbit we know," Merry toasted, raising a mug of ale. "Hear, hear," Pippin cheered, stuffing his face with cake. As they partied, Frodo's behavior grew more erratic. He began to see visions of strange creatures and hear voices whispering in his ear. One night he grabbed an axe and began roaming the halls, mumbling to himself. Red rum, Frodo chanted, his eyes wide and unblinking. Sam, Merry, and Pippin gathered in the kitchen, trying to figure out what to do. "We need to get out of here," Merry said. "Frodo's gone mad." "But the doors are locked and we can't find the keys," Pippin pointed out. "We'll have to be smart about this," Sam said, grabbing a frying pan. The fucking frying pan again.
Again.
"I'll distract Frodo while you two find a way out." Frodo was pacing the hallway, clutching his axe. "Here's Frodo!" Swinging the axe at an imaginary foe. "Mr. Frodo, please calm down," Sam called out, holding the frying pan defensively. Frodo turned, his eyes blazing. "All work and no play makes Frodo a dull hobbit," he growled, advancing on Sam. Sam swung the frying pan, hitting Frodo on the head with a resounding clang. Frodo staggered, dropping his axe. "Ow, what was that for?" he demanded, rubbing his head. "Snap out of it, Mr. Frodo," he shouted. "We need to get out of here." Meanwhile, Merry and Pippin had found a window that was slightly ajar. They managed to squeeze through and ran to the stables to find help. There they encountered Gandalf, who had been passing through Bree on his way to visit Radagast. Good
Cool.
writing, GPT.
Yeah.
Oh, good
Yeah,
job.
Nice.
It's fun for Radagast, sure.
Gandalf, Gandalf, Merry shouted, waving his arms. Frodo's gone mad. What's this now? Gandalf asked, raising an eyebrow. He's trying to kill us, Pippin added, panting. Gandalf sighed. That's almost reminiscent of Pippin getting Gandalf to help him save Faramir, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wow. All right, GPT. Good job.
GPT kind of knows its shit. It's pretty scary, actually.
Gandalf sighed. Very well. Let's see what's going on. Gandalf followed Merry and Pippin back to the Prancing Pony, where they found Sam struggling to hold an incredibly dazed Frodo at bay with the frying pan. Enough of this nonsense, Gandalf boomed, waving his staff. A big bright light filled the room, and Frodo blinked, his eyes returning to normal. What happened? Frodo asked, looking around in confusion. You were possessed by the spirits of the Prancing Pony, Gandalf explained. But it's over now. Frodo slumped in relief. Thank you, Gandalf. I don't know what came over me. Gandalf nodded. Next time, perhaps you should choose a less haunted place for your adventures.
Yeah, always choose the least haunted place you can find for your adventures.
As the sun rose over Bree, the hobbits packed their things and prepared to return to the Shire. Frodo looked back at the Prancing Pony, shaking his head. No more winter caretaker jobs for me, he declared.
Yeah, no shit.
Aye, Sam agreed. Let's stick to gardening and peaceful picnics from now on. Merry and Pippin, always ready for new adventures, grinned. How about second breakfast? Merry suggested. Excellent idea, Pippin agreed. And so the hobbits returned to the Shire, where they enjoyed a peaceful and ghost-free life, filled with good food, good company, and plenty of pipeweed. As for the Prancing Pony, it remained a mysterious and eerie place. But that's a story for another time.
ChatGPT, they did leave out the alcoholism.
They did.
They did leave out the alcoholism, yeah, because Jack's character did become a heavy alcoholic, hanging out with that ghost bartender all the time.
Yeah.
Nobody died in yours, Joel.
You know, you're right. Nobody did die.
Yeah, it was kind of I was expecting him to chop
I suppose
up.
nobody died in The Shining either, really, other than Jack. Oh wait, Frodo didn't die either, did he? Because Frodo was supposed to be Jack, and Jack died.
Yeah, he should have died. Yeah, what the fuck?
I also think combining Danny into Merry and Pippin confused it somehow.
Yeah, I think
they
it
didn't
did.
they didn't seem to treat Frodo as a father.
All right, that
Well,
was
that was
interesting.
fun. I like that.
ChatGPT,
Yeah.
I was
Shining.
impressed. I was impressed with some of that. Good job.
Yeah,
Cool.
some good references.
Good references there.
Okay, and then the last one that we have is a story where the Fellowship of the Ring are possessed by evil spirits, one after another during their travels through Moria. As they are possessed, they insult and try to kill those not possessed. Gimli is the only one to not become possessed, and he makes it to the gate alone, but is taken out by the Balrog.
God damn. That's a narrative.
This is
Sounds
Trevor's
bleak.
prompt?
All right.
Yep.
Jesus
I
Christ,
figured I
Trevor.
had to be specific. To
Yeah,
do
no,
what I want.
more
Yeah.
specific
You
produces
did.
a better story, I think.
So this story is called The Possession of Moria, written by ChatGPT. The Fellowship of the Ring trudged through the dark, damp halls of Moria. The once great dwarven city was now a labyrinth of shadows and echoes. Gimli led the way, proud to be in his ancestors' halls, but uneasy about the silence. Stay close, Gandalf warned, his staff casting a faint light. Moria holds many secrets, and not all of them are friendly. As they moved deeper, an eerie whispering began to fill the air. Frodo, clutching the one ring tightly, shivered. Does anyone else hear that? He asked. Hear what? Pippin replied, more concerned with not tripping over his own feet. The whispering, Frodo said, looking around nervously.
Spooky.
Suddenly, Boromir stopped in his tracks. His eyes glazed over, and he turned to the group with a sinister grin. Why don't you all just give up and go home? You're all useless anyway,
Wow, what
he
a
snarled.
dick.
Boromir, Aragorn said cautiously. What's gotten into you? Before anyone could react, Boromir lunged at Frodo, drawing his sword. Aragorn tackled him to the ground, and the two wrestled until Gandalf knocked Boromir unconscious with his staff.
What the fuck?
What was that? Legolas asked, helping Aragorn to his feet. Possession, Gandalf said grimly.
Ooh.
Moria is cursed. We must be on guard. As they moved forward, tension mounted. They reached the bridge of Khazad-dûm, where Legolas suddenly stopped and began muttering in Elvish, his eyes glowing a faint red. Legolas, are you all right? Aragorn asked. Legolas turned, his face twisted in a sneer. Humans are so weak. You won't survive this journey. Before he could shoot an arrow, Gimli tackled him. Snap out of it, elf! Legolas struggled, but Gandalf managed to use his magic to dispel the spirit possessing him. "We must hurry," Gandalf urged. "The spirits are growing stronger."
Oh, Jesus, okay.
Next, Merry and Pippin were taken over simultaneously. They began throwing rocks at the others and insulting everyone's heritage.
Oh.
What the fuck?
Damn.
You call yourself a wizard? Merry taunted Gandalf.
I guess that's a very Hobbit thing to do,
What the-
right?
yeah,
Because they're
just get
very
real
obsessed with
xenophobic, yeah.
they're very obsessed with heritages.
Xenophobic.
Oh God! Oh my God! Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen better tricks at a birthday party.
What the fuck?
Pippin cackled. "And you, Aragorn, more like Aragon, because you'll be gone soon enough."
Is this actually? You're not just like making this shit up
That's
off the.
what's written.
No, this is written. This reminds me of. Do you remember the movie Mystery Men?
No.
You remember that shit, right, Joe?
Mhm.
There's that Tom Waits' character. He makes those like non-lethal weapons. He has one called the Blame Thrower, and
What?
if you shoot it into like a crowd of people, they'll just immediately start bickering over bullshit. Because he makes weapons that don't like kill people. So it's really funny. You start arguing with the person nearest to you. It's pretty fun.
I guess that's one way to diffuse a situation.
Yeah,
I'm actually really enjoying this one so far.
yes, it's fun.
Gimli, fed up, knocked their heads together, which seemed to work as a temporary fix. "Keep moving," he barked. "We're almost there." As they neared the exit, Sam was the next to fall victim. He started brandishing his cooking pot like a weapon, swinging it at anyone who came near. "I'll cook you all into stew," he bellowed. Frodo, trying to stay out of reach, looked desperate. "Sam, it's me. You're Frodo." Sam hesitated for a moment, but then swung the pot again. Gimli, with a heavy sigh, disarmed Sam and tied him up. I'm starting to think bringing hobbits was a mistake.
You think?
Finally, only Frodo and Gimli remained unpossessed as they reached the great gates. Except for Gandalf, right? Anyway, "Almost there," Frodo said, panting. "We just have to—" But before he could finish, Frodo's eyes turned red, and
Oh,
he
shit.
hissed at Gimli.
Oh no!
"The ring is mine!"
Oh Jesus!
Gimli, used to the routine by now, quickly restrained Frodo. "Not you too, lad. Hold on. We're almost out." With Frodo tied up and slung over his shoulder, Gimli approached the gates. But just as he was about to open them, a terrifying roar echoed through the hall. The Balrog, a monstrous being of fire and shadow, emerged from the darkness. "You've got to be kidding me," Gimli muttered. The Balrog swung its fiery whip, and Gimli dodged, but he knew he couldn't hold out forever. He threw Frodo to safety and charged at the Balrog with his axe. "For Durin!" he shouted, attacking with all his might. But the Balrog was too powerful. With a single devastating blow, it struck Gimli down. As he fell, he whispered, "I tried, lads. I really tried."
Oh my
Sad.
God! This is tragic.
Good lord! This is sad. What the fuck, Trevor?
What have you done?
What did you do to? Who hurt ChatGPT?
What have you caused to be made here, Trevor?
We're almost at the end. I guess we'll see. Frodo, regaining his senses, crawled to the gate and opened it, escaping into the light of day. As he looked back, he saw the Balrog retreating into the shadows, and the rest of the Fellowship slowly coming to their senses, stumbled out behind him. "We made it," Frodo said weakly, tears in his eyes. "But we lost Gimli." Gandalf, battered but alive, placed a hand on Frodo's shoulder. "He fought bravely. Now we must honor his sacrifice and continue our journey." And so the Fellowship, -1, left the cursed halls of Moria.
Fuck, Jesus.
Minus the dwarf.
Gimli's the only one that died. Isn't he the only one that didn't get possessed?
Yeah.
Yeah, he still
Yeah.
Damn.
paid for it.
Damn.
Yeah, short end of the stick.
Vowing to avenge their fallen friend and complete their quest, despite the horrors they'd faced. Yeah, that's the end.
Wow.
Damn.
See, I wanted them all to die in this story, and the
Yeah.
Gimli's
that one
like
was,
the last.
That one was
last
still
stand.
kind of bleak, though. Like that
But
was.
It
They
turned
all
out-
so everybody survives except Gimli.
yeah, we
Except
traded
for Gimli.
we traded
Fucked up.
Gandalf for Gimli in this story.
Fucked up.
Did anyone die?
Oh, Gandalf.
And the Balrog
wait, Gandalf
survives.
survives, and
Yeah,
the
that's
Balrog
true.
survives. That's funny.
Oh yeah, a lot of people died in the first one. It was the murder dinner party. That one was fun,
yeah,
actually.
yeah. A
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of folks
Yeah,
died
yeah.
in that one.
Those okay. I actually really enjoyed all three. I may have enjoyed this last one the most. That one was really fun.
I like that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I want to
guys.
do more of these, but yeah.
Yeah, these are so much fun. Yeah, playing around with ChatGPT is really fun. We do it on our Patreon sometimes. We have a Patreon thing where we do it. It was fun.
Yeah, go check out the Patreon.
Go check that out. Yeah, ChatGPT, super fun. We'll bring them back in the future. It's like a person. We'll bring them back
We'll
Bring
bring
it
them
back
back.
on.
in
Yes.
the future. But yeah, final thoughts on the Halloween special. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Spooky,
Halloween
have
is-
fun. Go around and be satanic and I mean,
fuck shit up. Do it. Yes. Oh, hopefully you've been with us on our Discord, which you should definitely get into if you're not, because we've been doing spooky ooky Tolkien art all of October.
yes, share the
So check
spooky
that
art.
out. Joe Vasky actually likes to kind of hang out in that Tolkien art channel lately.
And a voyeur just
been posting
watches
stuff.
and-
Do you look at Tolkien art while you're at work now?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of I'm
Yeah.
in some Facebook groups, so it comes
Yeah,
up
it
on
comes
my
up in your feed.
But
Yeah.
there's some great art.
Yeah, there's Tolkien. That's the greatest thing about great art is that it inspires more great art. Right?
Exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
because you've got the classics like Ted Naismith
Yeah,
and
Alan Lee,
Lee and folks like that, and then
Mhm.
they inspire other folks to make more art that's really good, inspired by their art, and it's like
Yeah.
a never-ending cycle. There's a ton.
Super awesome. Yeah, we've actually had a few actual other content creators say that we've inspired them to start creating their own content,
Which is beautiful.
Which is super
Yeah.
cool because, like, Keep on Tolkien doesn't make money, which is like whatever, right? Money's great, but whatever, fuck
Mhm.
it. It's nice to be influential, though.
It
You
is.
know what I mean? That's pretty sick.
It feels really nice.
in
You're,
my
you're
opinion.
saying power over money.
Power of a money, exactly. First you get the money, then you get the power. It's from Scarface or whatever. But we also every goddamn year we say it, but Tolkien never gets credit for how spooky ooky his stuff gets.
It is
Mhm.
spooky and evil.
Spooky ooky.
Yeah, dude, some of those excerpts, that's creepy
Oh
shit.
yeah.
I always
Yeah.
love that, like when they find that last page in the Book of Mizarble, when they're
Yeah,
in
so
Moria,
scary.
it's like such a creepy setting. They're already so deep in there, and then they find this, and it's just like, oh
yeah.
no.
Tone shift.
Last people here did not get out. Yeah. Yeah, I also enjoy that we rank them by evil deed, which I think some people might take some umbrage with, but like what I think we would agree that actions speak louder than words, guys. You know what I mean? Evil deeds. It's a good way to rank things.
Evil deeds speak louder than
And-
evil words.
And also, another point, evil is scary, and we generally here dislike it. So that's why we went by evil deeds.
we here at KOT we would like to strongly disavow evil in the most
Yeah.
sure terms.
Do you renounce Satan and all his works? Yeah. The end of The Godfather, right?
Evil's bad, but sometimes good's bad too.
Oh.
Interesting take.
yeah.
Interesting take.
Are we-
Okay.
Interesting take,
Okay.
yeah. Dichotomy.
I'm not
right?
going to argue about evil.
You
being
can't
bad.
have evil without good.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yin and yang,
Just because
you know?
they're opposites doesn't actually mean they're opposite.
I don't know.
Anyway,
I don't know. I prefer good to evil, though, generally speaking.
usually pretty nice.
How about you guys? Hit us up on the Discord.
Hit us up on the Discord.
Do you like good? Do you want to be good?
But what do we got for you next week? We interrupted our Baron and Luthien series.
Yeah, so next week you're going to be
For
getting
Halloween.
for it's Halloween. We've got to
We
celebrate.
had to.
it. We
Yeah.
couldn't not.
We literally, so like as you guys probably know, this whole 100th episode celebration got a little bit out of hand, and it took a little bit longer. But yeah,
We did not want to stop for Halloween.
Yeah,
we wanted to at least stop for Halloween.
we all agreed that like if we did this new schedule that we were talking about, that we would still take time to do a Halloween and a holiday special. Like
it's very important to us.
those are very important to us, so we would not rob you of those. So here it is. Hopefully you enjoyed the 2024 Halloween special. We love it.
So next week we'll get back into part 3 of Baron and Luthien, but
Heck yeah.
that's about all we've got for you today, folks.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening to the KOT podcast. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts to stay up to date on new episodes. Please rate or give us a nice review. That would be super, super cool. And also check out our new website, keepontolkien.com. Very simple. Keep it simple, you know what I mean?
Keep it simple, keep it safe.
Keep it, yes. Yes. We've been putting some work into it lately to make it a hub for all things KOT. So that can, that'll get you to like our Discord. That'll get you to our, X, which was, we don't really use,
That'll
stuff
get
like
you
that.
to like our merch site.
Yeah,
That'll get you everywhere.
all the bullshit you'd ever need to know KOT wise, it'll be there.
Yeah, or if you want to get in contact with us, like
Yeah. All that stuff.
Yeah.
It's all there, guys.
And a big thank you to all of our patrons. You can subscribe on Patreon to help support us. And subscribing can also unlock some exclusive content. You can check that out at patreon.com/KOT podcast. And we also accept private one-time donations if that's more your speed rather than a subscription service. Just contact us on your favorite social media. We have PayPal and other services. We just appreciate anything you're willing to donate. Thank you so much.
Hell yeah.
And make sure you take a minute to follow us on social media. We will have a link to our Discord in the description, and that's definitely the best place to go to interact with us.
Yeah, and other super fans as well.
Yeah.
We have, I would say, a moderately to very active Discord.
There's definitely stuff in there every single day.
Yeah, every day. Yeah,
every day,
every
which
day
is awesome.
Stuff's coming up. Yeah, we love it. Keep posting in there, guys. We love it.
We are also on TikTok at keep_on_Tolkien_podcast.
Yeah, we've recently been paying a little bit more love to that little content there. Check that out.
Yeah, we sometimes throw out some quick updates and things, such as the delay on this season here.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
But you can also find that stuff on our Discord too, because we announce things there as well.
Yes.
We are on X, the formerly Twitter crap, at KOT Podcast. We're on Facebook at Official Keep On Tolkien, and Instagram at Keep On Tolkien Podcast. Don't forget to check out our new merch store. That's keep-on-tolkien-podcast.tml.com. But if you want to make it easier, just go to keepontolkien.com.
Yes,
We
it's all
have a link
simpler.
there. It's all simpler
It'll
on our
all be made
website.
simpler to you at keepontolkien.com. All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much all we have to say to you today. Happy friggin' Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. It's our favorite holiday. It's the only holiday worth celebrating, in my goddamn opinion. I'm
Commercial holiday.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Go listen to the Monster Mash more times than you care to.
Yeah, go listen to Monster Mash, watch old horror movies. Take your kids trick-or-treating.
Get the good candy, not the shitty stuff.
Yeah, get the good
None
candy.
of that candy corn.
Yeah,
don't get candy corn. What the fuck?
Make it magical for the children. I have little children to look after now, so I like to make it magical for the kids.
Get the good stuff, and get the Snickers, the Twix.
Yeah, get it all.
Kit Kats, all the good things.
Get
Milky
all
Ways.
the good things, guys. And for the adults, have a few drinks, some.
The apple cider whiskey seasons.
Oh yeah.
Treat your parents and your kids.
Yeah. Last fall, I found a bottle of candy corn flavored whiskey in a Wisconsin Wisconsin liquor store.
You didn't
Nice.
buy it, did you?
I did buy it. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not very good. But
I feel like that you should have known.
I knew it wasn't going to be good. Yeah.
This was a curiosity purchase.
Yes, it was. But yeah, that's right. That's right, guys. Happy Halloween. I'm Danny J.
I'm Joel N.
I'm Trevor D.
I'm Javaski.
And together we are
Keep on Tolkien.
Auren Tulova, Halloween, Halloween. That's right. Happy friggin'